So take me to the finish line. Take me to the finish line. So take me to the finish line. 'Cause this race never gonna die. Yeah, you're never gonna stop me trying. So take me to the finish line. Take me to the finish line. Take me home. Power, weakest thought, money driven, major fraud, breathless body, diamond bones, wanna be it, wanna feel it. Pull up, you feel me, I'm lost the world, I'm missing, equipment, it's gonna see, getting it, just call it threat. This night, will forever remain in your memory card. Your mind could be the greatest enemy. Away now, get wild, run. Away now, be loud, run. Away now, get wild, run. Away now, be loud, run. Power, weakest thought, money driven, major fraud, breathless body, diamond bones, wanna be it, wanna feel it. Pull up, you feel me, I'm lost the world, I'm missing, equipment, it's gonna see, getting it, just call it threat. This night, will forever remain in your memory card. Your mind could be your greatest enemy. Away now, get wild, run. Away now, be loud, run. Away now, get wild, run. Away now, be loud, run. Power, weakest thought, money driven, major fraud, breathless body, diamond bones, wanna be it, wanna feel it.
There's no jungler up for Frank Esports. Conway's trying to take this. Here come the teleports. These two AD carry champions are back on the rift. It's Frank trying to defend. They can't let this dragon go down. The stun. Down will go Charm. No, but the flash falls on Lilvi. Lilvi's going to find the kill off the Pretender. He's looking for Wako. What can Wako do? Nothing. He's the Ziggs. And Lilvi's going crazy. It's going to be West Point in a desperate attempt to turn the game. They're going to get the Elder.
什么情况？
那这局只是加凯威加一剑，在第一场比赛的 match 放出来，似乎有一些沟通状况的情况下，这时间点
一剑 Q3 R 闪进去，全部烧掉。
两个往前小队长那边进行控制，暴风的展开，但并没有将人给击杀。
有吉米恩收割，
此时吉米恩赶了回来，要来反手收团战，
反手吃巴龙，
并进来中了。曹总理有视野，这边向前的冷酷晋级，射下了人头，回头接巴龙 ，FAK 我逆转，你的逆转。
这巴龙哦，这巴龙吃的，哇，这什么？刚这什么？为什么大家全部喷了一大堆血？什么东西？
哎呦， 这就是这个巴龙新形态巴龙的威力吗？
太猛了吧！因为自己家打野在上半部的关系，这里下半部就变成 FAK 展开进攻，上半部单杀了 Bio Panther， 这里直接出大事，
是，而且他是有等级上优势，只是他一开始血量就比较低。好，这边有 Q3的时候还过去皮，这个真的是自找的。因为其实对面拿着 Q3，你等多1-2秒，这就没 Q3了，你就很安全。这是自己膨胀了，
招直接接嘛了
，nice， 有喽。
那另外一个后面一剑也有 TP， 宣发选择走过来，但没想到被针对了，控制利用立场一剑躲掉了绷带的牵引，直接走到正面的位置，被4个人给开交的闪现拉开距离，后面卷本仔进场，队友是没有跟上，不过来了一个压力，搭上了凯威的双重开战，又是一个 one ball combo， 卷本仔是控制了，这是金明控制了4个人，但还是被 C 给控制住。走在草里面的 Fighter 是被闪现进去，卷本仔给绑住，被击杀右边位置。虽然卷本仔倒下，但一剑选择站出来，跟着挖口来做收割，收掉了 Finn。
But he ends up being able to do so. Kaiwing's in there. He does use that solar flare, and down comes that red carpet as Haley's stuck in the pit. He can't even contribute. This is the guy that picked up 2 of your early kills. Jimmy's on the black. There's a massive, massive ultimate potential. They do get the first kill to a team blitz, but 5 people all locked up. And it is a massive team fight. This Aurora champ needs nerfs desperately as Frank get the ace. Only Gemini goes down, and it's a quadra for Wako.
He does do okay on Biopanther, actually looks pretty intimidating in this fight, but this is all happening while Aurora is not even there, and I believe that is a 5-man Aurora ultimate.
Yep.
Every member of Team Bliss trapped in there. Violet eventually chased down. Nice snipe by Wako. Nowhere for Violet to go to.
关键时刻，握着阿嬷帮我准备的球拍，让我更有把握赢球。阿嬷，好睡了，
睡哦。
家人的爱是多年的依赖，就像我多年以来依赖中华电信。金白来，最疼我的家人，最挺我的中华电信，舞动精彩，共创未来，
永远走在最前面。中华电信。
陈志明，华航直飞西雅图的班机即将准备登机。
旅客何淑慧，华航直飞西雅图的班机即将准备登机。
China Airlines passenger Michael Chen, your direct flight to Seattle is now ready for boarding.
华航直飞西雅图，7月14日正式起航。
好想吃花雕鸡面哦，可是还在加班。
阿嬷，加班也能来碗酒香补一补哦。
就是这味道，
这碗花雕鸡面帮你补身又补心，
好满足哦。
还有麻油鸡面，赶走你疲累的寒意。要不要再来碗花雕酸菜牛肉面？暖心酒香的丰盛美味，台酒酒香经典系列。
难得皇上莅临蒙古，臣等备好贡品向皇上进献。
好想吃哦！
特此献上，此为酒香蒙古锅牛肉面，
就是这味道。浓郁的汤头为牛臀骨风味，还有孜然香，淋上5加瓶料理酒，更有层次。这真是宫廷御膳顶级享受。
台酒御膳堂酒香蒙古锅牛肉面。
There's no jungler up for FAK Esports. Kongyue's trying to take this. Here come the teleports. These 280 carry champions are back on the rift. It's Frank trying to defend. They can't let this dragon go down. The stun. Down will go Charm Knight, but the flash forward from Lilvi. Lilvi's going to find the kill off the Pretender. He's looking for Wako. What can Wako do? Nothing. He's the Ziggs, and Lilvi's going crazy. It's going to be West Point in a desperate attempt to turn the game. They're going to get the Elder.
什么情况？
那这局只是让凯文加一剑，在第一场比赛的麦切克放出来，似乎有一些沟通状况的情况下，这时间点
一剑 Q3 R 闪进去，全部烧掉。
2个往前小队长那边直接控制，暴风的展开，但并没有将人给击杀。
有居民收割，
居民赶了回来，要来反手收团战，
反手吃巴龙，
并进来中了。场上面有视野，这边象棋的冷酷晋级，射下了人头，回头接巴龙 ，FAK 我逆转，你的逆转。
这巴龙哦，这巴龙吃的，哇，这什么？刚这什么？为什么大家全部喷了一大堆血？什么东西？
哎呦，这就是这个巴龙新形态巴龙的威力吗？
太猛了吧！因为自己家打野在上半部的关系，这里下半部就变成 FAK 展开进攻，杀拉不单杀了 ，BioPanther， 这里直接出大事，
是，而且他是有等级上优势，只是他一开始血量就比较低。好，这边有 Q3的时候还过去皮，这个真的是自找的。因为其实对面拿着 Q3，你等多1-2秒，这就没 Q3了，你就很安全。这是自己膨胀了，
招直接接嘛了，
nice， 有喽。
那另外一个后面一剑也有 TP， 宣发学的走过来，但没想到被针对了，控制利用立场一剑躲掉了绷带的牵引，直接走到正面的位置，被4个人给开，将了闪现拉开距离，后面追梦仔进场，队友是没有跟上，不过来了一个雅典搭上了凯威的双重开战，又是一个 one ball combo， 追梦仔是控制了，这是今天控制了4个人，但还是被 C 给控制住。走在草里面的 Fighter 是被闪现进去，追梦仔给绑住，被击杀右边位置。虽然追梦仔倒下，但一剑选择站出来，跟着挖口来做收割，收掉了 Finn。
But he ends up being able to do so. Kywing's in there. He does use that solar flare, and down comes that red carpet as Haley's stuck in the pit. He can't even contribute. This is the guy that picked up 2 of your early kills. Jimmy's on the black. There's a massive, massive ultimate potential. They do get the first kill to a team blitz, but 5 people all locked up. And it is a massive team fight. This Aurora champ needs nurse desperately as Frank get the ace. Only Gemini goes down, and it's a quadra for Wako.
He does do okay on Biocaptor. Actually looks pretty intimidating in this fight. But this is all happening while Aurora is not even there. And I believe that is a 5-man Aurora ultimate.
Yep.
Every member of Team Bliss trapped in there. Violet eventually chased down. Nice snipe by Wako. Nowhere for Violet to go to.
shit. I'm fighting from the ground, 'cause I can take this pain. It's changing me. I will rise up to the moment, and I won't stay the same. There's my decree. It's burning like a flame. I'm coming to drain. I'm coming your way. Your way. Thunder with the rain. I'm flooding the game. Start running away. Away. Battle through the pain. Transforming the game. I'm storming your way. Your way. And I won't stay the same as my decree. I'm no immortal, but my fire will never die. They take me for a fool, I'm taken for a ride. The more my feet are battered, the more I'm taken down. The more they get down and they sit, I'm fighting from the ground. 'Cause I can take this pain, it's changing me. I will rise up to the moment, and I won't stay the same. There's my decree. It's burning like a flame. I'm coming to drain. I'm coming your way. Your way. Thunder with the rain. I'm flooding the game. Start running away. Away. Battle through the pain. Transforming the game. I'm storming your way. Your way. And I won't stay the same as my decree. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the liar. Feel it burning through your veins. So welcome to the flame, getting higher. Welcome to the fire. Welcome to the fire. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the liar. Feel it burning through your veins. So welcome to the flame, getting higher. So welcome to the fire. Feel it burning through your veins. So welcome to the flame, getting higher.
Welcome back, everybody. We had a quick day off yesterday, and now we're back. And more importantly, so are PSG at long last. They're going to be taking on FAK Esports for their 5th series against PSG's first. And all the action will be brought to you again, once again, of course, by Riot Games, Kerry International, the Aces Republic of Gamers, as well as the Changhua Telecom, who, if you sign up in the near future, you will get 12 months of free video from that service. So definitely do check them out, as well as the Sheraton Grand Taipei Hotel, with 688 rooms and pretty much everything you'd ever want. Michelin-style banquet houses. They have, obviously, spas, I mean, they've got the rooms for everyone to scrim in. They've housed all of our international teams. So a big shout out to them once again. And China Airlines as well for getting all of our international teams across the ditch into Taipei to compete here in our playoffs, as well as, of course, our new sponsor, Carry Energy, who is designed for esports and athletes to keep you nice and topped up, get your energy levels high, and your physical performance even better than it usually would be. And last but not least, it is TTL Brand Ramen, who continually support our show and support the PCS. So once again, a big shout out to them, and if you do see their products on the shelves, be sure to pick them up and try them for yourselves. Now, I will once again be your host, Vestian. Alongside me, it is Lo.
Yeah, we are back after a much-needed day off. These have been some pretty intense series so far, so it's good to get a rest, and I'm sure Frank appreciated the days off too. It's going to be a tough day for them.
Yep.
It is not going to be easy. I think if you're Frank, you're hoping there's a little bit of rust maybe on PSG's side, because we are getting to the point now where it is just crunch time. You're a couple of series wins away from just being the PCS champions now.
Yep.
Whichever one of these teams, you are in the upper bracket now, so you do have an extra life if you are Frank. And for any Frank doubters, I would say that they have showed marked improvement. You know, definitely just day and night improvement, especially in the top lane.
Yeah. From
Jiang, right?
Yeah, Yi Jiang, I mean, leveling up throughout the PCS playoffs. I think from his first series up against Team Bliss, a lot of shakiness. Now he's come into that last series up against CFO and looked really, really good and continued to get better and better across the length of that series. And now that's very important because this, as I said, is Frank's 5th series of the PCS playoffs, and PSG are only coming in here for the first time. So there's going to be a lot of scouting being done. PSG's been able to see a lot of what Frank want to do, what they have found success on, and things like that, whereas Frank, they have no idea about PSG. PSG, their first series, they came in, I mean, they're the surefire to take it all, right? Everyone's got them as the team that's certainly making it to the playoffs and the grand final and then further on into Worlds. But Frank, they've got a lot of practice. They're warmed up. Can that be enough to get them across the line, or is it just going to be too difficult against PSG talent?
Yeah, and as we said, you really are just a couple wins. Now you win this series and then 2 more and you are just straight up the champions.
Yeah.
You get to make it to Worlds, and as you said before, we're kind of less worried about PSG winning or making it to Worlds and more worried about how they'll do at Worlds. That feels like what I'm thinking about when it comes to this team. Whereas Frank, as we said, have showed marked improvement, and I think a testament to that is taking out CFO just a couple days ago. That is the first time they've beaten them this year. So they hadn't been able to win a series off of them until very recently. Went to 5 games, absolute slobber knocker of a series, but they did get it done.
Yeah, and it was hard, right? It looked very, very difficult because ultimately it was very clear, watching it from our perspective, that Frank, they had the better hands in many ways. You get to those team fights, they were just outperforming when it came to those skirmishes and those team fights, but they were very, very much struggling when it came to that macro game when nothing really was happening. Aurora is going to be disabled. You were telling me it's because you could not chrono break a game if Aurora was in it. Classic.
Yeah, we've already had some chrono break issues in the PCS, so goodbye Aurora. Won't be dealing with that champion. Hard to say which team today it really hurts or helps. We have seen Jimian perform very well on the champion, but I mean, you expect Maple or Aja. I was honestly really excited to watch Aja play the champion that has been going top a lot internationally, and you know he's going to be a beast. It seems like the kind of champion he would just love to get his hands on.
Speaking of Aja, there he is on your screen alongside the rest of PSG talent, of course, Ginger, Maple, Betty, and Woody, rounding out that bottom lane. And this, as I said, is the team we expect to be able to take it all. They looked pretty infallible. They dropped 1 series to DCG, and as we said at the time, it's kind of an asterisk around it because they'd already qualified as our first seed heading into playoffs by the time they lost that. And they clearly were not playing how they usually would, right? They were going for a lot more riskier plays. They were doing things that you wouldn't look to PSG talent to usually be doing, and they were taken out by DCG. Credit to DCG for being able to do it in the first place. But now coming into the playoffs, you expect everything to go as well as it could, really. Like, you don't really expect them to be taking too many adverse risks, just playing how they play, because it seems like how they play is better than absolutely everyone else here in the PCS.
Yeah, and they're just better at being on form when they need to be. They had their troubles throughout this split and last split during the regular season, but when they need to, they just show up.
Yeah. Talking about show up, though, it's Frank Esports. It's Yi Jiang, Gemini, Jimmy, and Wako and Kaiwing. And Wako truly showed up in the last series. Really, really getting them across the line in games 1, 3, and 5. And ultimately, it did look like if he's on that series, it's very difficult to deal with. So we'll see if PSG talent have something in store for that champion, or if they just choose to ban it. whatever way they go, I'm sure they've worked out something because they are an incredibly skilled team. And with Corgi at the helm, you know that that pick ban is going to be pretty flawless.
Yeah, Wako looked like deft playing with scripts every time he got Zeri in that previous series. So we'll see how PSG approach that pick specifically, because he wasn't able to get as much done on these other picks as you kind of expect with something like the MF that he did play. You need your team to set you up. You need AoE CC, and you know, you have less agency on that champion because of the lack of mobility.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there it is. FAK Esports trying to get it done. Of course, Jimmy will be starting once again after last series. I don't see why not.
Yeah.
The Yone was a key pick for him. Obviously, did go down to the LeBlanc in game number 2, but other than that, looked very, very strong. He was really good at finding angles in team fights, taking out key members, taking out Gory a couple of times there in that game number 5, really making that game a lot easier for themselves. But the Emperor of the PCS is what they are being noted as here by our counterparts over in Taipei.
7-time PCS champions.
Yep.
3-time consecutive title holders, and the face of the PCS for good reason. These guys just always get it done when they need to. This is the summer season, regular season stats.
Yep. From what bottom to all the way up. And that's true. They were the first team to drop a series in our playoffs. The very first team, and from there, turning it around, really. They did better and better. They've been leveling up constantly, and you're coming in here probably with a lot more confidence than you would have been if they faced PSG earlier on in the PCS playoffs. So
yeah, as well as just straight up having to make this run from the bottom half of our, I think it was called the contender group.
Yeah.
Which is a spot that FAK do not often find themselves in. These are very storied players. There is Junjia, the best jungler in the league, by, it feels like a wide margin, feels like only maybe 665.
Yeah.
And Gemini are the other people you would look to maybe contest this guy, but when it comes to these carry junglers, he is not really contestable.
No, absolutely not. And you're seeing it there, just first across all the important stats. Up in CS by 20, that's 5 camps essentially. He is up at the 20-minute mark.
Yeah.
And just first across the board there. And you do look at this guy as by far the most stable carry jungler in the league. But yeah, different jersey, same Wako. Certainly earlier on in the split wasn't looking as hot, but now he has truly come into form. 30% of his team's damage is he dealing, and we were saying that we just really want to see this guy get some gold put onto him so he can be that mega carry, and he started to do it now. And I mean, it's going to be difficult. He's going up against his old team, his 2023 roster in PSG.
Yeah, we'll see if that fires him up. We'll see what kind of player Wako is. If he will just play with that extra bit of anger maybe for the teammates that benched him, make them pay. Or maybe it's PSG that kind of have him figured out and know exactly how he wants to play and some of his habits that they can exploit. As I'll be looking for Gemini. We've said it a million times, and I feel vindicated after that CFO series. Play the bot lane, get Wako resources. He can carry these games. Maokai taken away from Gemini.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I think ultimately seems like the standout jungler, at least in my eyes. Now, Junja, he's probably the one jungler in the league that I feel really good about giving a carry to, because he has been just by far the most consistent at actually using those carry junglers to actually carry.
Yep. And any of his lanes will set him up. Notably, it's Aja, usually, who is the best at setting up Junjia. But honestly, any of these lanes can. He just tends to play to the top side.
Yeah, and honestly, they're also really good at just leaving Betty down the bot lane to pick up farm for himself, while Woody goes around the map with Junjia as well. So they do ban away this Cassante. It was a stable pick for Yi Jiang, and the other one I really think of when I think of stability for this guy was the Rumble, but it is PSG on the blue side. RJ, a very, very good Rumble player, so you expect that it's either going to have to be banned by FAK or first picked by PSG, especially with Aurora just being disabled.
Yeah, now, internationally, a champion that's gained massive priority is the Lilia. It is just being picked up every time it is available. We saw in the CFO versus FAK series as well how much priority was on that champion. With Maokai, who is traditionally the go-to counter, banned away, Lilia actually gains a lot of priority, and I'm wondering if it's worth first picking, or maybe even just something like a Sejuani now as the best tank champion left alive. Usually it's a Maokai Sejuani trade.
I think, well, we have to wait for this ban, but it's probably just going to be the Rumble picked up. The Zeri's also something to think about, but
yeah.
I think ultimately PSG shouldn't be too worried about Lilia being played by Gemini. It would be Ginger that's much more comfortable on the champ, and he's already shown his prowess at it, so yes, Frank do just ban that away. I do think we just have a Rumble pick here.
I think they might, PSG, pick the Sejuani here and then trade Rumble for Kennen. I think they might be confident in Aja's abilities on the Kennen to exploit the Rumble.
No way.
No, okay.
Aja is just too good at the Rumble. There's no reason not to just give it to him.
Yeah, and Zhang's looked very good on it too, so makes sense. And Zhang has been unwilling so far to play the Kennen and really punish these Rumble picks. We'll see what he ends up going for in the top lane. Cassante has been his go-to.
Yeah, maybe giving the Lucian over to Jimmy in here. It's something that Maples really enjoyed playing.
Yeah, this has been banned so much through playoffs. I completely forgot about this pick. Very good blind, does well into the Corki that might just come out into the Lucian anyway. Because you'd like to have an AD mid laner at this point with the Rumble already locked in. Don't think we'll see this Rumble go mid after the Frescata incident.
Yeah, very unlikely. And why would you when Aja is just so good at the champ now? Gemini may be looking for his brand. It is somewhat of a signature for him now, as he has been probably the best performer on this champion. Ginger, though, he's always been a very good Kha'Zix, and maybe we're going to get to see it here.
Maybe.
Would be the first pick, I believe, of all summer.
Yeah, I am expecting to see something like a Leona come out in this rotation at some point. AD junglers make sense, but Nidalee is also very strong. Yeah, Sejuani Leona makes sense to me.
That is the Sejuani. Let's see. Do they follow it up with their support, or I think more likely they pick a mid laner before a bunch get banned in that second phase?
Yeah, unless they just want to go to something crazy in the mid lane.
Most likely will just be this Tristana. So, hasn't really performed, the Tristana thus far, but Maple has been by far our best Tristana always. So, I have confidence, and it is being played internationally. It's not a sort of unique champ by any means, and
honestly, even internationally, I just really haven't been impressed with the Tristana. We'll see what Maple can do. As you said, if someone's going to make this pick work, it is 100% Maple. It just looks like a different champion in his hands than in anyone else's. We'll see what Frank go for here. They do have the chance to take Zeri right now if they want it.
Maybe going for the Alistar. Kaiwing was performing very, very well on this champion in their series up against CFO, so it does make sense. Now, PSG will be able to ban away the Zeri if they don't want Marco to get his hands on it, but we'll see where they opt in for. Now, would make sense to me to see some AD carries banned as well by Frank, as they are going to get that first pick coming out of this phase of the draft.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of which ADCs. Ezreal stands out as a very strong ADC.
Yeah, Betty's really like the Misfortune at P as well, with Sejuani as well as the Rumble, so...
Yeah, over in the LPL, they're straight up first picking Misfortune. Yeah. Very high priority on that champion and getting early game advantages with it.
Braum makes sense as a ban. You have, of course, that brand that doesn't like the Braum wall and the Alistar.
Yeah, same deal for him. As well as... if you do want to go for the MF, you feel a lot better when Braum is off the table. We've seen MF really struggle into Braum. Riven banned away. Not wanting to worry about that champion.
Yeah, makes sense.
I can't remember what Zhang played it into most recently. It might have been the Rumble.
It was Rumble.
Yeah, okay, so he was willing to play that matchup.
Yeah, it was Urgot, but then that was Driver counterpicking it. But then the game before that, it was into Rumble.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So Leona is banned away, despite it being a good matchup for the Alistar, and we've seen Alistar usually win there. It is very annoying to have to play Brand into Leona. And you want Gemini to have a good game. In the game that they did take off PSG last time they played, didn't win the series, but they took a game pretty much off the back of Gemini making a monster play with the Brand. So facilitating him with this Leona ban more than their bot lane.
Yeah, now one last ban to come through. It could just be another top laner. It's going to be the Zeri. Take that away from Marco, especially after what he was doing on that champ last game.
Yeah, and honestly, across the board from PSG, these are just comfort. They're banning the comfort champions of Frank, not necessarily the highest priority champions, except maybe the Maokai. Otherwise, they're just banning what these guys are good at, and PSG is so good at doing that, and then just trading meta for meta and beating you. Oh,
yeah.
Oh god.
Zhang has played the Udyr into the Rumble. It was into Biopanthers Rumble, and he made it look really, really strong.
Yeah, that's true.
So
He
he
got a
can-
massive advantage.
So we'll see if he's able to do the same here up against Arja, who I would expect to be a little stronger on the Rumble just by the amount of reps he's got in.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I mean, yeah, Jung, as I said, did very well last time. Now, Kalista locked in the bottom lane and alongside this Renata, so that no matter pretty much what Wako picks, it's going to be a near-on impossible lane to navigate. It feels like Israel would be the natural pick here for him. And it is probably just the safest thing for him to pick up in this scenario.
Yeah, I think you just pick Ezreal here and accept you are going to be behind in the bot lane. Try to get your Alistar out of there ASAP. As these dives are looking very scary already for PSG.
It will just be the Israel picked up here for Wako. So a very known entity. See if he can perform on this champ how Feng was, because if he can, then it should be good. But it isn't going to be easy, and the lane is going to be extremely hard to navigate, especially for Kaiwing, who's going to be looking, as you said, to get out of that lane as soon as possible, to start going for those roams and having impact across the map. But we do have our team comms now locked in for our game number 1 here between PSG and Frank. The first time we're going to get to see PSG in our PCS playoffs. They've put together pretty much the most standard PSG comp you could ever imagine. They're all on comfort. They've banned away comfort, and I think you can be pretty confident. Bit of a question mark around the Tristana. Haven't seen that have much success at all thus far, but as I said at the time, Maple definitely our best Tristana in the league.
Yeah, it almost looks like he's playing a different champion when he picks it to everyone else. Able to get so much done inside lanes without even really having to fight on the champion often. Now, the trade-off that PSG have made by banning their comfort champions of their opponents is that if you just look at the comps with nameplates off, it feels like Frank got a lot more of what are the popular meta champions at the moment. Things like the Brand, the Alistar, the Ezreal, even the Lucian, you know, in isolation are just much stronger power picks. But it's going to be a difficult early game for them to survive, I think.
Yeah.
He has smacked his camera.
You have a little head on the head. Looks like everyone's pretty locked in.
Yeah, and I actually loved seeing Frank in that game 5 against CFO. How just happy they were and cheerful, though they had just lost the game, to take it to game 5. So mental in a good place for the side of Frank. Gemini has started Q. That does give a bit of information to PSG about which camps he wants to start on.
We'll see where he goes. Does he start top side? Does he start bottom side?
Yeah, but it's certainly going to be a buff either way. Conqueror on Brand. Don't always see that.
Yeah, I guess just a lot of health to try burn through, especially on the Sejuani champion. So we'll make his dueling easier for him.
Minions have spawned.
Game number 1. I mean, it is our first look at PSG now, and you have to expect that they should have the advantage, being that they've been able to see so much of what Frank want to do.
Yeah.
And Frank essentially just coming in blind.
Yeah, and you kind of see it in their bans, right? Pretty much every champion that's worked so far for Frank in playoffs has just been banned by PSG.
Yeah.
And they're saying, you just have to show us another look. Show us that you're good at these meta champions. Make us ban them.
And I also think stylistically, this bottom lane of Kalista and Renata is just so good into anything that Kaiwing does.
Yeah.
Because he is very much just a only play engaged support player.
Ooh,
and it's going to suffer a lot.
Yeah, good trades by Wako. It is one weakness of this Frank lineup that they're unwilling to put Kaiwing on ranged ever. So PSG are trying to exploit that with our best bot lane at playing double range, though these trades are not going their way.
Yeah, Wako able to find a lot of damage there at the level 1 as Woody tries to clear out these wards. And importantly for him, he was able to get both. So there is no more wards for this bush. As PSG do click over to level 2, they're going to have complete control over this lane.
Yeah, Wako, grateful that he gets to play Ezreal this game. You can just last hit from so far away on this champion, and as you've seen, trade back reasonably well, even while getting zoned off your wave. Down a support, as you are with a level 1 Alistar often.
And Wako actually gets level 2 1 minion before Kaiwing, so Kaiwing missing XP somewhere.
Yeah, just getting zoned a little too hard, maybe, Kaiwing, but won't be too impactful as Jimian getting the better of these mid trades. Ooh, nice Q by Jimian.
Yeah, a bit of a beast.
And it is just a quick cheater recall by Betty to pick up a cull. Usually we see the Ezreals and the Corkis doing this to get their tiers online early. But same deal with a cull, really. Nice scaling item. Lane, he's just going to win regardless.
This has been the most unique jungle pathing possibly of all time.
Yeah, what has happened? He went like...
Well, he went bot. I think he was suspecting maybe a dive to come through just with, you know, the Renata, Callista, and then a Sejuani. So he actually did his red, his Raptors, his blue, his Gromp, and sat by the tower making sure no dive came through.
Yeah, and Junjia in the meanwhile just has cleared all his camps and looks like he's still making plans to dive. So he does give away his position by hitting that Scryer Orb, but Frank know exactly where the Sejuani is, but there's not a whole lot they can do regardless. Kaiwing's going to find him in this bush and get chunked out. She's not taking too much damage. Ends up slowing Junjia down a bit.
Oh, the double ward.
Classic. Jimian definitely HP advantage here, but is suffering in terms of mana. Pops one biscuit, has another one.
Top going well for Arja in terms of the trade, but he's down a little bit of CS.
Yeah. Yeah, should be down quite a bit of CS if Jiang can last it well here. And there is a brand on this side of the map that Aja has to worry about, but it looks like this wave is too big and Jiang too low HP to really contest it.
Yeah, so Aja will get that wave in at least, and then even land a bit of poke here with those harpoons.
This is not going to be easy to last it under the tower for Jiang. Cameraman maybe doing him a favor. Panning away there. As yeah, Frank's bot lane need to deal with this freeze somehow. They need to get a base 4 Wako to get him a tier ASAP.
Yeah, once they see Junja, now they do. It should be a lot easier, a lot safer for them to push in that wave, but...
And honestly, this has been an amazingly successful first 5 minutes for this Frank bot lane. You have to feel good about how this lane is going so far. And yeah, the wave should be perfectly fine for them. Wako cancels his base, is on a ward.
Yeah, he won't even realize this base also will be able to be cancelled as he sees that ward goes down.
Baits the Q out of Betty. That feels pretty good. Betty doesn't have all that much mana on this Callista. Maple using his ulti for a big trade there onto Jimian, who has no TP.
Maple too does not have TP and ultimately is much lower in terms of mana.
Yeah, this might be the dive now. We'll see if Gemini is wise to it.
PSG bot lane doing a really good job of ensuring Wako can't get back for that tier.
Yeah, at this point he's sitting on a whole lot more than a tier that he'd like to back for, but just has had no chance to.
Yeah, luckily Israel is pretty trivial to get that tier stacked up.
Yeah.
So it should be okay, as we are going to see a trade of these objectives, the Dragon 4, the Void Grubs, and I'll echo the sentiment that I had not last week, 2 days ago, is that it does just feel like these Dragons are far more impactful.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, we just haven't seen teams use the Void Grubs well enough to justify these trades, but sometimes it's all you can get. You've got Alistair Ezreal against Callista Renata. Would feel pretty suicidal to go for that Dragon fight, I think, especially with Jimian a bit chunked out in the mid lane. So good on Gemini for finding a trade here as Junjia hits level 6 now. Gotta be careful if you're Jimian, but Maple is off the map. Oh, Junjia is being so annoying. Jimian greedy, admittedly, trying to get one more wave in and build an advantage for himself. Get a slightly better recall than the Tristana. Has been slowed down now and should just be fine to get this base off.
Yeah.
Jimian should be close to 6.
Much quieter start to the game than we saw in the last series from Frank, but...
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they are just kind of the losing side of the map early. Maybe aside from this Lucian.
Yep. Jiang trading hard with Aja has to be careful.
Maybe a bit too hard because this overheating Rumble does ridiculous things.
It's baiting. Gemini is here, but
Junja's going to spot
God.
out where this Brand is. Throws the ult, misses it, and he's going to get taken out. He just got absolutely owned as Jiang sprinting forward. Equalizer does come out, but he's able to dodge out. And RJ with that flash gets himself out of harm's way as well. But Junja just completely sending it. Saw that ward get placed and not realizing that he was in a lot more danger than he actually was.
Yeah, and this is something we've seen from Gemini quite often throughout this playoffs. He just has a sixth sense for when these ganks are coming and spends a lot of time just waiting under the lanes. And Junjie did see this ward, but maybe he thought it was from Jiang because this is a crazy play. Had this Brand ulti bounced a little bit more favorably, Aja could be flashed on by Gemini here to follow up this kill. But yeah, amazing for the side of Frank. You got to feel good about this start. Especially since it's been a while since we've seen Gemini on the carry junglers really have, you know, the performances we saw him put out earlier in the split on things like the Zyra and the Brand.
Yeah, off to a flying start though, and Wako still hasn't managed to get that recall off for a tier.
Yeah.
Now 9 minutes in without a tier on the only tier champ in the map on the map, so Wako going to be in a sort of trough for quite some time.
Yeah, what a crazy cheater recall by PSG, and they just played the lane so well afterwards that they've almost just finished their cull before Wako can get this back off. Essentially a free item. I'd be very surprised if PSG pulled the trigger here. Kalista Renata.
Oh, Junja got that. With his flail.
With the flail.
Or maybe he saw it with the smite, I'm not sure. The vision looked a bit buggy for us. I think he might have smited it, but...
Yeah, looking at the smite cooldown, maybe he did smite it away. Gemini not going to be too upset about that.
They're coming to help his bot lane finally get a recall off.
Yeah, probably waited a little too long to do that, but hey, your Brand got a kill in the top lane and burned the Rumble's flash, so you got to be okay with that if you're the side of Frank. Maple maybe faking that he's placed a ward there or just trying to proc his fleet footwork. Is going to get a shove in here, but I think Jimmy-in, because it is a cannon wave, is going to just catch almost all of this. We'll see if Maple goes for the bomb on the turret, decides to preserve his tempo instead, and start his recall.
Yep, makes sense. As Woody now is going to start roaming alongside Junja, Kaiwing doing much the same.
Yeah. Yeah, 0 stacked here on the Ezreal. Wako wants this game to stay at about this pace. PSG not interested in doing that at all. Already moving their bot lane around the map. We're going to just be much more useful than this Ezreal for a long time. Till we get pretty close to the 20-minute mark, I think. And Woody is a monster at team fighting on this Renata. I don't know how he does it, but he always finds incredible ults. And you're up against 280 carries, so they're going to be looking at him to carry. As honestly, it feels like sometimes Kalista is more there to facilitate the support than anything else.
Yeah.
Rather than doing all the damage herself.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. And importantly, I think Renata, one of the best late game team fighting supports there are.
Yeah.
Which is a weird statement to make, but Jimmy-in going to be using that culling. Is answered back with that buster shot, and trade goes fairly even in the mid lane. Both mid laners with lifesteal available to themselves, so we'll be able to heal on up as the 3 Void Grubs were picked up there by PSG, evening out that score 3-3.
Yeah, spam fallback pings. Aja signaling to his team maybe that Jiang is on his way to the mid lane. Kaiwing kind of begging the Sejuani to go on him. Does pull the trigger himself.
Yeah, but the handshake will connect. Not really much to be done here.
You see how PSG are standing right next to each other. They are baiting Gemini to throw his Brand ulti at Junjie or Woody so that Junjie can just Q away, and that's an ultimate use for nothing, essentially. Gemini does not take the bait. Holds on to his ulti for this dragon fight, though. They might just not get a chance to do it. Look at Jimmy-in's HP.
Yeah, Biddy roaming down. Wako still up on that top side. Will be matched now by Maple.
Oh, what?
Okay.
He finished his Abyssal Mask.
Yeah, finished the Abyssal Mask and just seemingly pops the NOS and sprints and takes down Aja in their bottom side. I want to see the replay because that's not an interaction we often see. That's certainly not the way we often see that interaction going either. But Jiang once again showing that this Udyr does very, very well into the Rumble. Junja going in to this pit, but will be able to get out of there as soon as his Q's back up. Not even going to need to.
Yeah, nice discipline from Frank to not funnel into this pit and potentially eat a Renata ulti. We'll see what happens. Pretty equal HP here. Actually, Jung starting to fight lower HP. Aja just overheats and can't... Wow, my goodness. I have not seen a Udyr in a while, and I haven't seen him do that almost ever.
Yeah, not with tank, right? Usually it's the lethality sprints you and one-shots you, but yeah, that was absurd amounts of damage.
Jung has very clearly put time on this champion, because when we were seeing this champion last split and earlier in the regular season, he just wasn't looking that impressive on the Udyr. Aja, the person he's up against, actually the premier Udyr player here in the PCS.
What are you ever so accurate with those handshakes?
Yeah, items looking pretty good across the board for the side of Frank right now. Just with the caveat of that is a 70 stack tier for this Ezreal. My god, it's going to take a long time to get that Miramana online.
Yeah, and while the kill score is in favor of Frank, it's still PSG with a 1k gold advantage, so they are still ahead in this game. Even up on Dragons, even on the Void Grubs, and it is just these tower plates as we're going to watch another one go down.
And yeah, it is 5 plates to 1 for the side of Frank. You expected a better early game out of PSG just based on the champions picked, but across the board, really, the plates are pretty evenly distributed.
Yep, now this Rift Shield going to get started up. Both top laners have access to teleport if they so choose. Jung maybe looking for a proxy here to force Aja to stay in the lane. And Aja not interested. Yeah, another trade off those ults, as these trades are very, very even between these two mid laners, and they're both going to be able to heal on up. Although Jimmy may be looking aggressive here at Maple. Ginger, he gets his Q cancelled, but he's still going to be okay to just walk on out of there.
Yeah, Jimmy whiffs the stun there. Jiang running at Betty. Not much of a threat to the Kalista is an Udyr, though.
Well, Wako might just be.
A threat, yeah.
Oh. Two-shot barrage does go wide.
Yeah, barely hits the wave there, Wako. Ambitious ultimate from him. Onto a Kalista. We'll see what Junjia's got cooking here. He's just sitting under Maple's turret for now.
Yeah, maybe expecting some aggression out of Jimmy, but Jimmy's just down hitting this Rift Shield, as they are going to claim that one. Junja in the bush, protecting up his mid laner. Maple, though, trying to turn around and find the damage. Jimmy's going to have to jump away. Out comes that Glacial Prison. It is going to be matched with the Alistar ult. So just a trade of ultimates there. No harm, no foul. There's a teleport coming in here from Yi Jiang. There is a ward. Archie's going to have vision of this Udyr soon enough.
Yeah, he's going to do the run him around the run around this wall. He's used his E.
Yeah, Archie going to put down a pathway for him to get out.
Yeah.
More than anything.
Yeah, once Jiang had to use his E awakened there was no chance of really ever killing this Rumble. Not at this point in the lane. It's not long enough. Maybe the tier 1 tower, if that's down, you can chase this Rumble forever and kill him, but not even sure that Udyr wins at this point with the Liandry's finished. And this is usually where PSG come alive, specifically with this Tristana pick. They are so good at generating gold for Maple, but I've been impressed by how Frank have played out the macro so far, though. PSG see an out of mana Ezreal desperate for a recall, and they're gonna take advantage of that to control this jungle now.
Wako getting his recall cancelled once again. He's struggled to find timings, to find those recalls, to get those items.
All game.
Yeah.
I think he's going for like only his 3rd base of the game or something. And PSG are not willing to let him do that, and it's probably Jimmian who's going to pay for it, whether it's with this tier 1 turret or his life. You'll see Gemini's here, but he's in danger too.
He's going to be able to get there, though.
No, they call it off, PSG.
Yeah, too risky.
Yeah, Dragon up in 30 seconds too.
Is there Cloud Soul once again this game? We've had some pretty disappointing souls in general.
Yeah, Cloud Soul can be very good, but neither team is super excited about it. Probably favoring Frank's usage of a Cloud Soul over PSG, but either team will take it.
Oh my lord.
Yeah, a lot of pressure on him in this top lane. Pressure that his teammates cannot come and alleviate because they want to be there for this dragon.
Yeah, Jimmy recalling, no teleport, so Maple should just be able to pick up this tower, which would be the first of the game.
Yeah, do Frank trade it for a dragon in the bot side? They have the option to if they want to, but how many times have we seen Maple turn a tower sack for a dragon into actually a tier 2 tower and just get so much out of this Tristana? Here he goes, already generating gold for himself.
This tower will be taken out. A lot of gold there now onto Maple on that Tristana.
Yeah, double kill worth of gold now.
But this will be the mid tower getting taken out by FAK Esports as the Rift Shield is going to be placed, and the tower doesn't have all that much health, meaning it is going to go down.
Yeah, certainly more important than the top lane tower.
Oh, what's happening top though? It looks like there's a bit of a battle once again between these two mid laners as just another trade off those ults. Maple's so good at cancelling that culling with his Buster Shot. Is going to put a lot of pressure now onto Jimmy, and he could even look aggressively. Both health pools for these mid laners is so low as Gemini actually starting up onto this dragon. It is solo for now, but Yijang in the area is going to be able to help him out.
Yeah, and here's that tier 2 pressure from, I think that was actually quite a good trade from Jimmy and onto Maple to chunk him out and alleviate pressure on this tier 2 as PSG were looking to trade it for this dragon. Ultimately, might just get nothing for this dragon, PSG. Enemy red buff, I guess. Well, the entire enemy top side.
What are you taking that red buff away from Betty there? Yoink.
Yeah, it's not really shared at this point, just between 2 members.
They do have their red buff available, though. It shouldn't all be too impactful, but...
And I think these trades between these mid laners will be a lot less close now.
Yeah.
Look at Maple's items. I'm surprised both of them waited this long to go ninja tabbies, as they have just been punching each other all lane. I think ninja tabbies could have given either of them a reasonable advantage had they gotten a decent recall for it.
Maple now pathing out to that bottom side of the map as Yijang. He does have teleport if he wants to try and save this tower, but it seems like Jimin will be the one to answer Maple's push. Gemini in the area, maybe trying to defend at least one wave to get his mid laner time to get there, but it does seem that will be the case.
Yeah, and I like Zhang's build this game, where he's gone for a very cheap magic resist item to get him through the lane phase, actually get him a solo kill. Does Maple really get away with this? Yeah, even more gold to Maple. You're seeing now 250 gold shutdown out of thin air for this Tristana. And this is how PSG like to use the champion.
Yeah, doing well for themselves.
Yeah,
2K in the lead they are, and Marco getting forced once again away. Ginger, he's looking aggressively onto Gemini. Glacial Prison comes through and it lands onto that brand. He misses up on that stun, and the equalizer is fantastic. Gemini getting so low, but does have flash available to himself. The ult can come through, the Pyroclasm, but it's not going to be in time as Benny is going to claim 1 kill with that Rend, and Archer just running at Yijang, trying to get payback from earlier, and the flash forward, that's a double kill. We're looking for maybe a triple kill as Archer's able to get 1 for himself, and only Wako and Jimian remain alive on such low health totals, and out of nowhere the game explodes open and it's PSG Talon taking the lead.
Yeah, and they go from 0 kills to 3 immediately. The game just explodes now for the side of Frank. They were already behind despite getting a couple kills. They're gonna lose their mid tower here likely. It is very healthy, and they have Wako on the way. Only 3 Void Grubs for PSG. We'll see if they can get it here. And I was about to say before that play happened, you can almost feel the frustration from Frank as this Tristana is taking towers in front of them. And it felt like they were about to make a mistake. They do make a mistake. They take a fight that they themselves have not set up. It's PSG trying to make this play, not the side of Frank. Don't want to engage these fights with the face of your brand, and the TP comes out so much earlier from Aja and has so much more impact. As Zhang just melts to Aja mostly, and Betty willing to flash forward to make sure they finish these kills.
Maple so much uptime. Back to live though, as Archer just caught out in the topside river.
Oh.
And pings now onto the Baron as they've turned this around. They've R4K gold
Maple
behind. Maple will be able to teleport to this play. Let's see what PSG can do to try and defend. Junjin now here. Woody here. He has no ultimate. That hostile takeover not available, which could be so good in this choke fight. But the Baron is so low. Junjin's made his way into the pit. Gemini does it once again. You're not going to get smited away from. There's no way Gemini loses those. And now PSG, they're fighting. They're trying to find the damage. But 4 members of Frank will walk away with that Baron buff. And how consistent is this guy with his smite key?
Just all series. Actually won a flip for a dragon earlier for his team and then wins it. I think Kaiwing really messed up there trying to get the Sejuani away from the pit. It should be a pretty trivial task as an Alistair, but Junjia plays it well and gets himself into the pit. But Gemini always accurate. Aja I guess Kaiwing makes up for it with this find onto Aja here. Using his vision very well, finds a pocket of vision where he can get behind this Rumble. And Frank, again, just looking like they leveled up from the last time we saw them. Nice block here from Jiang on the Sejuani ulti, but it's really Gemini who clutches it here with his smite.
Yeah, 38 HP, was able to get that one, and Frank, they were behind, they find a pick, they find a Baron, and now they're going to be able to push down these lanes as Kaiwing looking aggressively in this mid lane. Just going to get that ward down. Looks like Jiang going to be able to work and most likely take out this top tower thanks to those Baroned up minions.
Yeah, and an impressive game from Jiang so far. Before the series, had you asked me, I'm taking Aja over Jiang 100 times out of 100, but here he is so far outperforming Aja.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that Aja getting caught there gave them the Baron, right?
Yep.
As well as just getting soloed in a side lane.
Now it is PSG, despite going up against Baron, who do have control over that mid, over that bot wave, and are going to be able to start up on this Dragon first. Frank, they're trying to make their way down. Maple's found himself in a position where he will not be spotted. Gemini, though, doesn't seem like there's too much of a... Not too easy for him to get into that pit. Kaiwing going to use that ultimate. Is going to be smited away, actually rendered away there by Betty.
Yeah, do Frank really want to fight this?
Yeah, it seems like it.
No TP on Aja.
Yeah, he does.
Soon. Yeah, Frank called it off. Impressive macro play by PSG as usual. They're the team down a Baron, but just while Frank are trying to get back onto the map, they managed to get Prio in 2 lanes and take a Dragon out from under them. Complete steal. Aja now finishes his Void Staff, and that's going to be pretty scary for Jiang in the side lane.
Yeah, Jiang, though, he finishes up that Randuin's, meaning he has a lot better of a time up against this Tristana now, although Maple's not convinced he does as he just jumps on forward. Rocket Jump going to be available again whenever he chooses to use it, but Jiang just pops the Ghost, is going to run on out of there, and now Maple. I mean, they did actually probably win out on that trade, did Frank. The fact that Aja teleported down, although Jiang might be caught out again. Gemini's here baiting. And somehow Maple has the wherewithal to not pull the trigger on that Rocket Jump and just get exploded by this Brand who is patiently waiting in that bush.
Yeah, has his whole team behind him too, Maple, so very intelligent not to jump there. And a couple creeps lost in the top lane is essentially the cost of that play in the bot lane for PSG. But it really should be Frank being able to make these plays right now, as they haven't been able to really grab a hold of the map at all with this Baron buff.
Yeah, now
it's gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, they got nothing. Not a single tower. Oh, top tower.
They did.
Tier 1.
But it is something we've criticized Frank with over the course of this playoffs, is they're not quite there when it comes to the macro. It seems like just maybe not on the same page or not able to find as much as some of these other teams. And
yeah, even here, look at 2 lanes being pushed by PSG, 1 lane being pushed by Frank. PSG always going to win this, especially because they're pressuring tier 2s.
Yeah, now Frank, they are able to claim that outer tower in the bottom lane, but Maple, I mean, realizing he's weak-sided, just standing back, waiting for the push to come through. Now he's going to be able to walk up and take control of this lane again.
Yeah, just rocket jumps straight in, does Maple onto the wave. Very bold move. Hadn't seen every member of Frank yet. There's a... Look at Betty's CS, by the way.
Jimmy and teleporting. Maple may be wanting to find it and look for that ultimate to cancel.
Yeah, and the result of PSG playing the map so much better than Frank is just the CS differences in every single lane and the jungle. Oh, Wako.
Oh, Woody. Getting so low. Wako just hitting absolutely everything, even firing off that True Shot Mirage, which will land, and maybe that red buff trying to finish off the job, but Woody will stay alive. And it is PSG still in the lead. 2K advantage to them, but Frank Esports, they're putting up a hell of a fight, and they're looking really good.
Yeah, definitely. And Wako looking sharp, as you expect on this Ezreal. Let's see what he can get done in some of these fights.
3 items now for Betty, as well as Maple, who picks himself up that LDR, going to be able to do a lot more damage now to this Udyr in particular.
Yeah, Jimmy struggling with this blue buff a bit. I don't think he gets it. No. Yeah, puts all that work, ends up just leashing Junjia. Baron up in 40 seconds now.
Similar names do Gemini and Jimmy have, but not similar records when it comes to stealing away buffs. As Jiang is just getting chased down. This Navori, there's no way out. is just way too pushed up in this lane, and Maple will just be able to take this Udyr out.
Yeah, Jiang remembering how tanky he was the previous time he fought Maple. This time Maple has the LDR finished, and you see the difference. In terms of damage, Jiang frustrated now. 10 seconds on Baron. How's his team gonna be able to defend this?
Yeah, I mean, maybe just yin and yang. Arja getting caught out for the last Baron. This time, Yi Jiang getting caught out for this one. There is teleport available to Maple if he so chooses to come up and join his team, but he's probably just going to feel very happy being in this bottom side. No, here it comes. The teleport is coming through. It's a 4v5. And Frank, they're going to try and find a way in. They're going to try and find Gemini, his pathway in. We've seen him steal so many of these before. The Glacial Prism from Junji does go wide, and he's getting focused down. He's getting taken out. The Fade's call. It's a fantastic hostile takeover from Woody to lock down 3 members of FAK Esports, but no one there to follow up the damage, and Junji is going to be falling down to that massive team of Frank, as it's now a 4v4. The vision control is in favor of PSG. I wonder if we should have gone for that 3-man, because Woody landed such a massive ult.
Yeah, especially because it is Gemini. I think Frank approached that fight much more intelligently by focusing Junjie down. Usually don't want to focus the Sejuani, but once the Sejuani goes down, as long as you can get your brand out here, they can no longer Baron despite however many numbers they might have. Nice stuns connect here in the whole combo. Yeah, crazy. But yeah, while Woody goes for this play, Betty pulls him out.
Yeah.
And goes the opposite direction. Not on the same page there, it feels like PSG. Gemini now is 3-1 on this brand, looking good.
Yeah, got some grievous wounds there for himself if that Oblivion will pick up. Obviously going to be very good up against particularly this Callista, who has the Bloodthirster, has the Blade of the Ruined King.
Oh, massive amount of healing otherwise, but his lifesteal on these carries.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he's not turning that into a Morello's. I think I'd rather see a Void Staff, maybe a Zonya's out of this brand at this point.
I agree. We'll see what he goes for, though, as PSG have control over this river. They're actually starting the Baron up. It should be known. Frank should have an idea. Here comes the True Shot Barrage. They're going to spot it out, but can they do anything about it? It's going down so quickly. 2 Blade of the Ruined Kings. There's a Rend. Gemini is going to be able to get into that. Petty flash forward, but it's a Rend. It's too hard to steal up against this Callista. Is Betty able to secure that one for himself? Now, it is Kaiwing trying to run away from these carries from Betty, who is just firing away at him, but PSG, they don't have to do anything. They can just back on out. Happy to pick up that Baron, happy to get the flash away from this brand, and happy to continue to look for a fight here on after.
Yeah, and now Gemini finds himself without a flash, without an ultimate. PSG do not care about this dragon. They are sending it straight down mid. You're losing an inhib for this on the side of Frank. Yeah. Luckily for them, no one's stopping their recalls, so...
Now this is... Now Soul Point in favor of Frank, but they are going to lose a lot of their base. Young here, but what can this Udyr do? Absolutely nothing. I can answer the question for you immediately, as Kaiwing does make it back to his base, but that's inhib mid taken out.
Yeah, going to be worth for PSG for sure. It's a little bit of pressure to play up against this Soul Point, but happy to take an inhib. 30 minutes into the game. Slow one.
4 items now for Betty.
Yeah, look at mid items too. There's a... Yeah, I mean, it feels like Lucian, Jimmy and on this Lucian has been on exactly these items for what feels like 5 minutes now.
Yeah, yeah. Look at how much farm Betty has.
Yeah, insane, right?
370
You don't see people 60 CS ahead of the clock.
Yeah.
Often. Chovy bat chest. Jimmy finally finishes his Black Cleaver, and you'll notice Wako actually has gone for a different Ezreal build this time around. I like this out of him. Shojin feels really good.
Yeah, Spare Shojin instead of that Bloodthirster, which he usually goes for.
Yeah.
Not the most amount of poke against him, so it does make sense, at least in my opinion. But here goes the fight. Yeah, Ginger getting looked at, but he is able to get on out with that Arc Assault, and Jimmy getting fired away. Buster shot available. Hostile takeover lands on Jimmy, and he's going to start melting his jungler. Jimmy almost solo kills Gemini there on the side as Betty flashes forward, but he gets hit back into the rest of the team of Frank, but it's too little too late. Betty able to get on out of there. They take down 2. They're now looking at these towers. Wako trying to find damage with those Mystic shots, but it is looking like too little too late. Wako, Gemini, and Jiang with it all to do. And Maple flashing forward, but it is going to be answered with that flash by Wako, who will also have Arcane Shift, so he doesn't feel too bad about that, but 5 members of PSG now. They're looking towards this Nexus. Nexus tower number 1. There's nothing Jiang can do. In fact, Jiang is just completely eliminated. Gemini is going to be next. He's able to find a lot of damage off the back there. Does manage to take down Woody, but both these carries still just free hitting. There's no way that this Ezreal can do anything to this Kalista. There's no way that Frank can turn it around. And PSG, they go up 1-0.
Yeah, and Wako was doing so much damage at the end there, but it felt like he never got a chance to impact this game before PSG got a Baron, and then it becomes so much more difficult for the Ezreal. You kind of understand why Frank forced in the jungle there, just to not have to fight around the Baron creep waves with their Ezreal, but the fight is horrible.
Yep. Yeah, it was, and I mean, it's just, again, I think this game number 1 at least, it was PSG who were playing just macro much better.
Way better.
Yeah, because Frank, they were up 2-0, they were up the kills, but weren't able to find gold off the back of it. It was just Maple and Betty farming away pretty happily, Maple taking 2 towers. They were able to find the Void Grubs as well as the Dragon. It was just pretty much got their cake and ate it too, did PSG throughout their mid-game, despite being down in those kills. And it's something that we've critiqued Frank on, what day was it? 2 days ago? 2 days ago we critiqued them on it, where they find themselves winning out of these sort of 2v2 skirmishes, 3v3 skirmishes, but they're just losing out on the map anyway. So looking to change that, I suppose, looking at game number 2. But so far, so good, really, for PSG Talon.
Yeah, and honestly, PSG kind of just making them look bronze as they grouped 5 people at one point in the bot lane about 28 minutes into that game to take a tier 1 in the bot lane. PSG take 2 towers in the other lanes. No setup at all before they make that play on Frank, and it's partially because they just couldn't get Prio in any lane in the mid game.
Yeah, I think what Betty and Woody were able to do in that bot lane was very significant, right? They delayed Wako for so long. His first back of the game was something like 10 minutes in. But that is ridiculous. You're a tier champion. You need to get your tier online, and he wasn't even able to look for a recall until Gemini came down and cleared his wave. And I think that was just, kudos to that bot lane of PSG Talon, keeping Wako locked up, never finding his way into that game. And it continued on. It wasn't only the start of that lane phase. You saw later on he was stuck in the mid lane because Betty and Woody were just continuing to push. And I think that's something you get when your support is Woody and their support is Kaiwing. Not that Kaiwing's bad by any means, but just Woody is so much more flexible. Picking up the Renata here, you saw his team fighting. So much more impact in those team fights did he have than Kaiwing on the Alistar. Even in that last fight, I said it at the time, Jimmy nearly solo killed his jungler just because he got hit by the edge of that hostile takeover. So
it took half of Gemini's HP off. And PSG did just play super well around the Alistar, only ever finding one-man headbutt pulls, usually onto a Sejuani, and then when they get the Alistar ult out of them, they just back up.
Yeah, and it was probably the best we've seen a team play around Kaiwing's Alistar thus far, so maybe going forward, Kaiwing might have to look for a different champ, because if PSG's just able to make sure he's only finding isolated targets, it becomes a lot harder for him to have as much impact than you could on like the Raul or Leona.
Yeah, and we know he's good on the champ. He was making Alistar look like Malphite up against CFO a couple days ago, and I think maybe, if anything, the Lucian blind pick is back to the drawing board for Frank. It felt like Jimmy just had no impact on that game. Was just trading pretty evenly. Here is a one-man headbutt pole onto a Sejuani, not amounting to all that much, and then you're fighting this choke against a Renata and a Rumble. Feels horrible for the side of Frank, and they get punished for it. You see how much damage Wako is doing.
Yeah, I didn't even see, but RJ had a fantastic equalizer there that actually left Gemini on about 1 HP. So, I mean, he did a lot of damage. Obviously, he is just hitting a damage sponge up in that top lane, but I think ultimately, I don't see a reason why we give over Rumble to RJ. It allows Junja to play a tank and set up things for his team. It allows, once again, of course, Maple to just play these 80 carries. And Tristana, this is the first good-looking Tristana game. He was winning in the side lane the whole game. He was taking towers. He was finding farm. Definitely a better look from the Tristana champion than we used to. And I think I said it before we'd seen him play it, but I was like, well, this could just end up being another champ where it's like, I don't mind if PSG play it, but every other team maybe needs to stay away from it. And it's just because Maple's put so many reps into this champion throughout his career. He's always going to know how to play it, despite a 50 mana change.
Yeah, and they have so many of those champions, PSG, whether it's the Udyr, the Nocturne, or the Tristana, just feels like they pilot their champions so immaculately. And yeah, Maple, Betty, and Woody, kind of the standouts. Yes, Junji and Aja had a rough game.
I'm hoping Woody gets the MVP. Maple probably will get it just for his pressure around the map, but I think Woody was really so good just having that Renata there to force Wako to pretty much never be able to play the game, and then the impact he was able to have in the team fight.
Yeah, he does get it. Nice.
Based. Yeah, I think like it's sort of
difficult to see.
There's no stat to show the impact Woody had in this game. it was just like, well, Wako could never do anything because of this Renata champ. Every fight that was in the jungle, he found a perfectly placed ult. Sure, it didn't always hit people, but it forced them to not be able to fight for however long, which meant Jiang would be taken out, and then you know, someone else at the back end of it as well.
And you just couldn't walk through a choke as this Frank comp between the Rumble and Renata ulti. It just took so long to get through those if you play around them. And here's an example of Kaiwing using his ulti and just getting kited out. Here's an amazing hostile takeover.
He gets griefed a little bit by his
his ADC just insta-ults him after his flash. That never feels good once you get pulled away from your flash engage. But they do pick up a kill. Regardless, and stop a Baron attempt, I believe. Or is it Frank successfully stopped them from attempting the Baron?
Yeah, I think Frank stopped them from doing the Baron, and then it went one. Yeah, it was because Ginger got taken out by the Brand, and I mean, it was just a well-played game macro-wise, I think, for PSG. Honestly, when it comes to the skill, you know, the hands diff, there's not really much of a hands diff because the whole early game, the advantage in terms of those skirmishes were just going to Frank Esports, but they were ahead in kills, but down so much in gold. I think 2K they were down in gold when nothing had really happened. It was just a bunch of tower plates, towers, and whatnot. So going forward in the future of our series, we're going to see if Frank can turn that around. Of course, it is now PSG who lead 1-0. When we're back, we'll see if Frank can, in fact, turn it around.
哎，看图，
你又开大了，哎，这个大还行。
我可以撒大，我打药，我可以打药，我帮你打，一波，看你要不要？你家大姐可以看我开打药好了吗？你15秒。你要从 OK， 哎，他火在前面，你就跳大，好。我8秒打药，对，哦，没事，没事。你怎么没闪呢？
火了没大了，
我打药了，你们可以装一点啊。我打药。哎，要看误点8秒。我打药。
我跳过去了，你给我玩。
我要死了。
你猜吧。
给到猪了。一波，他出来才5秒，这一折。
完了，你害我被录进去了呀。这也太夸张。
对啊，谁呀？哇，不然我被录进。
关键时刻，握着阿嬷帮我准备的球拍，让我更有把握赢球。阿嬷，好睡了，
睡哦。
家人的爱是多年的依赖，就像我多年以来依赖中华电信。金白来，最疼我的家人，最挺我的中华电信，舞动精彩，共创未来，
永远走在最前面。中华电信。
旅客陈志明，华航直飞西雅图的班机即将准备登机。
旅客何淑慧，华航直飞西雅图的班机即将准备登机。
China Airlines passenger Michael Chen, your direct flight to Seattle is now ready for boarding.
华航直飞西雅图，7月14正式起航。
好想吃花雕鸡面哦，可是还在加班。
阿妈，
加班也能来碗酒香补一补哦。
就是这味道。
这碗花雕鸡面帮你补身又补心，
好满足哦。
还有麻油鸡面赶走你疲累的寒意。要不要再来碗花雕酸菜牛肉面？暖心酒香的丰盛美味，台酒酒香经典系列。
难得皇上莅临蒙古，臣等备好贡品向皇上进献。
好想吃哦！
特此献上，此为酒香蒙古锅牛肉面，
就是这味道，浓郁的汤头为牛臀骨风味，还有孜然香，淋上5+皮料理酒，更有层次。这真是宫廷御膳顶级享受。
台酒御膳堂酒香蒙古锅牛肉面。
Said I hate to see you go, but you're always back for more. Said I hate when things move slow. You're oh so far yet so close. Oh so far but so close. Oh so far but so close. Oh so far This is hello paradise. I can't decide. Show me the light, show me a sign. Said I hate to see you go, but you're always back for more. Said I hate when things move slow. You're oh so far yet so close. Oh so far.
drain me. Counted corners on my windows far too long. Will you be gone? Blame the rain. A perfect day to stay inside, safe and sound, on solid ground. And I don't have a choice or two. Have to live with you. And pulled down by gravity. And my agony's anxiety. Close the door. Here outside, feeling secure. Should not forget, I'm all set to face the day. I may always take a getaway if I fall through, like I used to do. And I don't have a choice or two. Have to live with you. Pulled down by gravity. And my agony, anxiety.
So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the light. Feel it burning through your veins as we're walking through the flames, getting higher. Welcome to the fire.
Welcome back, everybody. 1-0 in favor of PSG, coming out how they left off in the regular season, looking very good, especially when it comes to that macro. And now, Frank, they're going to have to do something different to get this one across the line. They do select the red side once again, so I'm not sure what that looks like.
Yeah, interesting that they have gone for the red side. I guess because they were coming into this series expecting to be on red side. Maybe they've just prepared all their drafts on that side of the map. They have historically performed a lot better on the blue side, so that does still surprise me, but I think they played well enough in the previous game to win it in terms of mechanics.
Yes.
As we said, that was not their problem. The problem was just falling apart in terms of macro. PSG gave them a lot of opportunities that game. Junji and Aja specifically. Junji, whether it's that overdive in the top lane or just losing out on smites to Gemini, gave them opportunities. Aja getting soloed in the bot lane, losing his flash on that same dive.
I cannot believe just how consistent Gemini is with
I forgot
smites.
he was against Callista, by the way.
Yeah.
He was outsmiting Callista.
Yeah, it's insane how good this guy is at smiting objectives.
Yeah,
like,
and
genuine
what does he need
insanity.
to do to win?
Yeah.
What does he need to do to win? Several smite steals, high pressure smite steals on these dragons that they're stacking up. They get to soul point eventually thanks to him. And also just securing these barons.
Marco there, smile on his face.
Yeah.
Last time that was true, they won. See if they can do it again. Up against his old org, his old teammates. But, I mean, they did clearly get the best of Frank last game. Trishana I think, is, again, a champ you have to look at just because it's Maple. He's so good at finding things around the map just the entire game.
Yeah, but last time we saw PSG, they were willing to just first pick Lucian. So I think if you ban Tristana, specifically when Tristana's banned away from Maple, they're really happy to just insta-lock first pick the Lucian, and Maple looks about the same. Less towers taken, obviously, not as strength of Lucian is taking towers. As PSG, at least, you expect to run back the same bans. And maybe an adaptation from Frank could be picking up that Zeri a little bit earlier in the draft. Alistair blind before you've seen either of the bot laners is a dream for Betty and Woody, who love to play the double range bot lanes.
They certainly do. Now, I mean, everything's staying the same thus far. Ben and Yone away from Jimmy, and after last series performance makes so much sense.
Yeah, I believe it was Lilia here.
Yeah.
You almost have to ban it now that Maokai, the go-to answer, is gone. I wouldn't be surprised if PSG first pick Lilia if left open. And it's probably just going to be the
just
Rumble again.
Why not? Like, at one stage of that game, Jiang turned on the NOS and just 100 to 0'd him, but...
Yeah, but doesn't matter if the Rumble shows up to fights and just has 10 times more impact than the punching bag that Udyr becomes later on.
Yeah, and this, makes sense. No surprise whatsoever. I said in the break to you that it's like there's two players in this league you don't give Rumble to, and that's Driver and Arja, and here we have Arja on it for a second game in a row.
Now we'll see if the response changes from Frank. Maybe because of how well the early game went for them, they don't feel like they need to change all that much. The brand can stay. I agree with that. Looked fantastic.
Do we go for an early rotation Riven?
Yeah, maybe. I feel like you have to get the Lucian, the Riven or the Zeri. You have to get one of these picks early. And I think you could probably drop your mid ban if you're willing to play something like the Hui.
Going for the Ezreal. This could go mid, in theory. If it does end up getting...
Do it. Aw. Pick Zeri.
It looks like it's just going to be this Ezreal.
Yeah, Ezreal is fine so far as long as they don't show the support, give themselves the option to play something like Karma, but we've never seen Kaiwing do that. Maybe once last, but...
Lucian for Maple, but I mean, no surprise there, really.
Yeah, and he's saying, you cannot play Tristana as well as I can. Probably a factual statement.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anyone really on the same level as him when it comes to that champ.
You can also just take the Corki and be on the losing side of the matchup, as we often just see internationally. Corki's still just a monster champion. I like this from Jimmy.
Yeah, why not?
The early game is going to be rough for Frank. You're playing 2-tier champions right now, and very little ability to face check from your jungler or engage or frontline so far. So they're going to have to find a way to survive this early game, especially with the enemy bot lane not locked in.
Yeah, can look to ban out the Renata. I wouldn't hate that as a ban. Kallista's going to be the choice, so that maybe does ban away the Renata in some sense.
Yeah, unlikely to see the Renata. We see it paired with Ashe as well sometimes. Maybe a Varus Renata. Lane could come out just because Varus is played as on-hit these days. PSG should just be banning Riven and maybe the Udyr this time. No need to ban the Zeri this time around. Leona, actually.
Yeah, Leona. Obviously, it's something that Kaiwing's very good at.
Yeah, does
he
that
is just
tell
good
us...
at any of those melee supports. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like you can ban him out at all. Does that tell us what they want to play bot lane on the side of PSG? I'm trying to think.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think it changes anything. They're just getting rid of a champ that's strong, I think.
Yeah, would have been a strong champion for them, I think. Not the best into Ezreal. Good into Brand. Smolder is the ban. So they're banning one early game champ and one late game champ on the side of Frank.
Ginger keen to get home and get some sleep by the looks of things.
Yeah, coach has made him lock in Sejuani again. Not the best Sejuani game from him last game. A lot of whiffed ultimates. Riven is taken away from Jiang.
Yep, already shown that he's happy to pick that one up into the Rumble, so just get rid of it. It takes away some volatility in the draft.
Yeah, I'd really like to see top lane locked in here over support. If you show your whole bot lane again before PSG have to show a champion bot, yeah, go on.
All right. No, boo.
Yeah, Udyr, they were struggling in the early game with this draft, and Udyr is going to give them some priority in at least one lane.
Zeri maybe for Betty. Also toying with the idea of a misfortune. I think he has looked very good at the misfortune. Always finding himself ahead and positioning well in those team fights to find those big bullet times.
Yeah, maybe just Rel now. We're the side of PSG.
Could be.
Pairs really well with the misfortune. Same with the Rumble.
Maybe the Poppy
is going to be straight up good into anything Kaiwing picks. If it was any support but Kaiwing, you might expect a Karma with a Poppy, but it is the Rel. Which means Kaiwing likely going to go for an Alistar.
The Poppy very good into Rel.
This is true, and Lucian, and Sejuani. Used to be a jungle counter pick against the Sejuani. See if Kaiwing's practicing it. Starting to see it all over the place internationally, especially in the LPL. It was originally just Mickey X on G2 playing this champ.
But gonna go back to the Alistar. Woody laughing. Probably very happy. I know I've played a bunch of Rel, and in my solo queue adventures, when someone picks Poppy, I feel miserable because I can't use my W. You know, even the remount W, when you hit a champion, it counts as a dash. So
really, while you're running at them and flipping them?
Yeah, that counts as a dash as well. So you get grounded.
Yeah, there's a lot of spells you wouldn't expect, like Garen Q. We were thinking of the same spell. Garen Q. What's the other one? The Volibear Q.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a bunch of random spells you'd never think were dashes. But gonna be a tough early game for Frank to survive. We said this last time, and honestly, they survived it fine, and it was in the mid-game that they struggled.
Yeah, they shouldn't struggle as much in the mid-game this time, though. There isn't a Tristana just continuing to hit away at your towers. It's more the Lucian, which is going to like skirmishing and fighting a little bit more.
Yeah. And we've seen once this Corki gets online, it stops feeling like the Lucian is a counter pick to it. And the Corki just puts out so much more damage in team fights, too. So if Gemini can navigate this lane, keep himself even, which is possible in this matchup, it's not just a hard counter. He will be set up to win this game for his team.
Yeah. You feel, honestly, looking at the drafts, I don't hate either draft, but I do think PSG have just gotten exactly what they want across the map, which always feels rough just because of how good they are.
Yeah, and this is the type of draft we see Frank go to a little too often, it feels like, where it's just Kaiwing on engage. No one else can help with the engage. And Conqueror this time for Aja, so an adaptation in this matchup.
Yeah, okay.
Went for the Comet last time.
Yeah, I think quickly realizing it didn't do anything. I'm still just surprised we don't see First Strike.
Yeah. I mean, maybe just too greedy. If he's getting solo killed by this Udyr with Comet, maybe First Strike is tragic.
Jimin with the CFO emote.
Yeah, formerly a CFO player.
That's right. You got there in the end. That's the main thing.
Yeah. It's only game 2.
It's fine. You speak 2 languages. It's okay. Now, I mean, probably not much happening again in this game early on. Junja will be the one that's more likely to pull the trigger on something than a Brand, but we haven't honestly seen Gemini just randomly go solo kill top laners at level 4, so not always strictly true.
Yeah, and Gemini really got a spanner thrown in the works in terms of his jungle clear last time around, because he had to just sit around and hover on his bot lane. Brand, not the fastest first clear, but certainly should be able to keep up with the Sejuani. Aja, seems like the Conqueror hasn't really made a difference yet.
Yeah, this is the same as his last top lane started off. Oh, missing out on that farm, and Jang going to be happy to block up the second one.
Yeah, at level 1, being able to block your opponent's spell, just tank it. Waka's played these level 1s so well on the Ezreal.
They're going for Pulse Fire, so maybe looking for a wallet gap.
Oh.
I think
first legendary skin, right?
Yeah, I think more often than not, when he's been on this Ezreal, it has been the striker Ezreal.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but this time, opting instead for that Pulse Fire. Yeah, it was the first ultimate skin. I believe it was followed by... Was it Udyr or Sona came out next?
Not sure.
That was one of the two.
As neither of those champions are ADCs, so I don't care. Honestly, this feels like another lane where...
Oh, God. Jimmy has to be careful.
Dead.
What the... Oh, my...
Just losing his flash 1v1.
Yeah, that was psychopathic.
Yeah. You do kind of want to stand and deliver on the Corki whenever you've got the E available for
Probably
you.
not on 200 HP, though.
Yeah. You want to trade less often, probably, than Jimmy is trading, just so you can make use of your fleet footwork a little better. He's going to be doing fine in CS. And we'll see if Junjie can make him miss that flash on the Corki. My prediction is yes. Woody and Junjie will be on their way here, as Woody's already here.
Yeah, no one even in the lane. And he's still keen to gank.
Gemini this time around keeping up with the Sejuani clear. And Kaiwing there to protect him as he does the Scuttle Crab. Again, Betty's managed to just cheat a recall out. And this time, Gemini is not going to allow his bot lane to be locked in this lane. He is here to make sure they can get this recall off. So it might be Zhang suffering for it. Not the easiest dive, though. PSG maybe calling it off.
Yeah, oh, no. I was going to say he's going to finish that recall up, but... I mean, RJ just struggling to push this wave in, ultimately.
Yeah, unless Zhang takes a horrible trade here.
Yeah, he pops the Ghost early. They can kind of wait it out. It's a lot
Does he have mana for W?
Oh, my God. Oh, there we are. That's a one-shot.
Yeah, nice flash out from Junjie. Would have certainly gone down to the tower. Otherwise, both flashes just committed. Zhang not able to get the empowered W off. Goes for an ulti, for an R, sorry.
Well, much better start up on the top side for both PSG's jungler and top laner, as last time it actually resulted in RJ having a flash away and Junjie going down.
Wako still hasn't managed to get a recall with his jungler on his side of the map. This can't keep happening for the side of Frank. If they keep picking this Ezreal, on a Zeri, you're probably fine to do this. But on an Ezreal, yeah, you just can't keep finding yourselves in these positions. We'll get a recall now.
Yeah, and his recall will ultimately be a lot earlier than last game's one, so it's not too bad, but yeah, as you said, need to be able to find those recalls nice and early to be able to pick up that tier and get that stacking away.
Yeah, and Zhang up here ultimately will be fine. Does find himself ahead in CS, though Aja will catch up a bit when he catches these creeps. It's just relentlessly running at him.
Damn, the spacing from Aja. Perfectly turning around, but ultimately, even though he overheated with that flame spitter, it didn't really feel like it impacted Zhang all that much.
Yeah, both TPs committed as well. Aja not able to hold on to his despite the dive, and Zhang ultimately will be fine. The problem is just going to be late game. As last game, we saw Zhang even solo killing his lane, so Jimmy doing a lot better in the trades now. Zhang solo killed the Rumble with the Udyr and still just couldn't have as much impact.
Junjie and Woody here. Jimmy, and once again, he does not have flash yet, but Kaiwing there to protect as well, so it's all good.
Yeah, feels better for PSG to play around the mid lane. Nice Q from Jimmy, and you can't usually connect with those on the Lucian.
We're going to have our objective trade once again, Junjie, this time opting for those Void Grubs, while Jim and I will be happily taking away this Dragon.
Yeah, that feels pretty good. If you're the side of Frank, we do prefer the dragons, at least here on the caster desk. Level 6 now for Betty. So watch the bot lane, especially if Woody, or Wako, sorry, loses this cleanse. And Junjie should be 6 very soon as well. There he is.
Yeah. Climbing up in this top lane, and Aji doesn't have his flash, obviously, after using it in that dive. Has to be minding the fact that he's up here, but with that ward, we'll now spot out exactly where Kaiwing is and feel very safe.
He is still staying very far up. Oh, Kaiwing doesn't ever expect the Rumble to just be sitting there, though, so he backs away. Still hasn't been seen for a while, though. And, it is Wako suffering for this. So he has to ult to get this cannon. Tries to not hit too much of the wave otherwise, so he doesn't lose all these range creeps. But PSG playing well to deny him what they can. And you got to be worried about getting dived even in the 2v2. Kaiwing on his way back bot lane, though. The 2 culls picked up by the PSG AD carries. Just these little edges that, you know, you have games like last game where they're down 2 kills to none, but still just up a significant amount of gold because of these small edges they find.
Yeah, and Jimmy now has his flashback available to himself, so he will be a lot safer in this middle lane. Not really under the same threat from a Sejuani and a Rel as he was a minute earlier.
Junji has dodged this ward in the Tribe Rush. Maybe Frank feeling safe.
Yeah, Kaiwing only level 5.
Uh-oh. Is spotted now.
Yeah, should be able to get himself out.
Yeah, Waka will have his E available. They go.
Oh, still going aggressive. That's the bullet time. And Kaiwing, he's going to flash away. Does manage to get himself out, but that was a lot of damage.
Now Waka has to sack this wave quick. He's just dead.
Yeah, he does have sums available to himself, but Woody should be able to land something. The Magnet Storm to start it all off, and Wako's got nowhere to run, but he's trying to trade one back, and he does manage to do so.
Yeah, it does lose a massive wave, commits his sums as well, Wako, but he just needed to get some money there, and it'll make up for the creeps he's missed. Meanwhile, though, Betty massively winning out here. And it doesn't look like they can ever get this top wave crashing on the side of Frank to dive the Rumble. Rumble will just ult the wave if he has to. And Junjie on vision for about a second. Frank really not respecting it. Kaiwing probably just had to flash. The Sejuani ult immediately. Had vision. Loses his flash anyway, but this way he's chunked and his AD carry is left for dead, essentially. Well played by Wako to actually trade back.
Yeah, finds a lot of damage for himself.
Yeah, fully stacked Conqueror, nice flash to pick up the kill, but Betty is going to be massively ahead in gold. As you see, he's got Vamp Scepter and a BF Sword, and it's going to be a long time before Wako's doing enough damage to kill this MF through her lifesteal. So we'll pick up a plate for himself. Unfortunately, shared with Kaiwing, who's still not level 6.
Oh, Betty has to be careful. He doesn't have bullet time to clear out this minion wave, and Gemini's here, but...
Wow, Woody's reaction time so fast. Blind Q out of the bush, still dodges it.
Yeah, he is that guy, pal.
And, well, Jimmy and we got exactly what we needed from him out of this game. He's managed to, in the counter pick, maintain CS up against Solution, and he is set to just outscale the Solution and be much more impactful.
Yeah, well done by him, especially after losing that flash level 2 or 3 or whatever it was, to have stabilized entirely and actually, as you said, keep up.
Yeah, it's just Wako struggling.
He is still going to be weaker for some time. Needs to kind of get those 2 items online. Even 3 is where he kind of takes over.
Yeah, 4 feels good, 5 feels good. Corki is just such a good scaling champion because every spike is significant. It's about picking when you're ready to fight, usually 2-item spike.
The same can be said for Israel, so should be pretty clear on the side of Frank when they are going to be spiking, when they are at their sort of apex in strength.
Yeah, and it feels really good to have this dragon picked up, because there is going to be a point in this game where you're on an item and a half, and the enemy team is much stronger before you get the Miramanus online. And going to be 6 Void Grubs for PSG. If Frank can get this dragon before Junjie rotates down, you're going to be feeling pretty good if you have 2 dragons this early.
Yeah, Gemini's starting it up, no one there to answer. No vision even. It's Kaiwing as well as Jimmy coming down to support the air jungler, shall I say. But yeah, this is going to be, once again, the objective trade. So 6 Void Grubs here for PSG Talon, but the 2 dragons on the side of Frank.
Yeah. The Void Grubs are better for generating gold, as PSG in the previous game were able to pick up a lot of plates. Only the 2 plates in the bot lane so far. As Jiang may be getting dived again here. It's a lot of magic resist now.
Yeah, it is a lot stronger, a lot more resistant to a potential dive, but It looks like PSG won't be going for it as the wave is just cleared out pretty handedly.
Yeah, just dead even on the Udyr. Feels like just a bad version of the Cassante matchup, really. You're a bit stronger. He's gone for the Rooker in this game, interestingly. Not happy with the Abyssal Mask.
Yeah, I'm shocked by that.
Yeah, considering he built an Abyssal Mask and just went and killed his lane on exactly these items.
Yeah, and ultimately, he has that brand, right? So you're going to... Even the Ezreal is going to get a lot of value out of the Abyssal Mask.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not going for it this game. He's preferring that Recurn. A bit more 1v1 power in that you have that shield so you can trade.
Yeah, maybe it felt like he just had to give priority. We'll go for an armor item second, and maybe last game he just felt like he had to give up priority a little too early. Junji, I'm going to eat a chunk here. Would he able to clear this ward? Maybe. He shouldn't be able to. Jimmy, let's see his reaction time. Junji not going to go for it.
Yeah, but Maple is. Culling coming out, and Glacial Prison will land, but just out of range. Jimmy able to create enough distance.
Yeah, and PSG are so good. Junji shows bot, forces Gemini to rotate down, and then quickly makes a play mid. PSG making a way too aggressive play in the mid lane, but not punishable. Jimmy and just find himself on the wrong side of the map.
Oh.
Yeah,
Kaiwing angrily hits the ground in disgust.
It activates his E as well.
Down 2k gold again,
yeah.
FAK Esports.
Just purely through bot lane, I think, and a couple culls picked up.
Yeah, Betty once again just so far ahead in terms of that CS. And it is just the pressure, really, that Ginger gave them by finding that kill onto Wako and forcing Kaiwing out of lane at level 5.
And seems like Aja knows something is up in the top lane. And Gemini not really able to get anything done on the map so far.
Well, this is going to be a Rift Shield for a tower, and I mean, how many times do we need to say it? But this is just so good for the team that gets the tower, as long as this Rift Shield doesn't really get the mid lane tower in specific, which right now it doesn't seem like it's under all that much pressure, considering it doesn't even seem to have taken any damage.
Yeah, I mean, Frank were able to get the mid tower with the Herald last time, so gonna feel okay if they can do that again. And Wako is honestly in a better spot this game than he was last.
Yeah, for sure.
Interacts much better, I think, with the MF going forward than he does the Kalista. So yeah, gonna be feeling okay, but with a Bloodthirster finished and almost a second item already for Betty, yeah, gonna be a long time before Wako's is impactful. Cannot fight around these two ADCs right now.
Oh god.
Yeah, and that is a trade where Betty is back to full HP and Junji caught.
Yeah, Junji is caught out. There's 3 people, but he is going to be able to flash over that Baron wall and get himself back to safety, as Maple getting a little aggressive here, but doesn't seem like there's really much play, would he? He's going to find everyone in that bush and quickly turn the other way.
Yeah, BrandQ missing on a stun target there, unfortunately. Betty making the most of these Void Grubs, picks up a second tower for himself. And how do you actually kill this MF until your Corki or Ezreal come online? Because any Alistar engage is going to have to be through a flash from Kaiwing, and Betty's going to react to that.
Yeah, quite possibly the fastest reaction times in our league. Is taking a look at the total gold there. It is just Betty well and truly ahead of the competition.
Yeah, 2k up on his own. Pretty much his entire team's gold lead.
Yeah, almost 4k now as their lead.
Yeah, just up 1 kill. Have lost 2 dragons, PSG, so that is going to be good for Frank if they are trying to stall this one out. As they should be. I think scaling looks pretty good for Frank this game.
Yeah, we'll see if they want to fight this next dragon. You know PSG certainly are, with Maple now headed down.
Seems wrong with 280 stacks on both these tiers, but Frank are going to go for it.
Yeah, Jimmy and teleports on in, so it's going to be a 5v5.
Completely sacked mid-prio.
The 280 carries here from PSG making their way down. Junja, he doesn't have flash, but he has ult. He can look for that team fight. RJ as well is going to be so impactful if he finds a good equalizer. Kaiwing flashing forward, but he's only able to find Ginger, who's able to get that smite. And look at the bullet time ripping through these health bars. It's 3 people going down in such quick succession as PSG run away with at least this fight.
Yeah, Kaiwing completely misreads the situation there. The Dragon is way too low to be trying to focus down the Sejuani. He should just be headbutting the Sejuani away from the Dragon. Tries to headbutt her into the team so they can kill the Sejuani and win the smite fight, but the Dragon's already dead at this point. He has the opportunity here to just CC Junji and push him away from the Dragon and secure it for his team. Rel MF, we see why this is such a good pick with the Rumble and the MF. And I mean, Jung spent that whole fight just sitting in the bot fight trying to zone the Rumble. Aja walks up, throws an ulti on top of the Rel ult, and has infinitely more impact again than this Udyr pick.
Yeah, so we're talking, it was 4K gold advantage just before, while now it's ballooned up to 5 as going to look for another tower here on the top side. Maple is going to at least half alpha. These Void Grubs and double Void Mites that they are having spawned going to be very helpful, although Jimmy takes a nice trade.
Yeah, turret shot helping Jimmy out there, and you're seeing Corki starting to get these good trades, but Lucian just has 2 items finished already. Woody.
I think he's fine, yeah, crash down. Wow.
That is the 2nd time Gemini's missed his Q on a stun target this game.
Maybe they're the ones in a Rusty Maple! Oh my god! What happened up there? Both mid laners using Flash, True Shot Barrage. Maple falling back far enough to not get hit by that one, but very, very close was that trade. Jimmy only just able to survive, as was Maple after the tower shot did come through.
Yeah, and it's just across the board that PSG are winning. They've killed each member of Frank once this game. Only Wako engaged now onto Kaiwing.
Yeah, onto Kaiwing. Here comes the crash down and the Magnet Storm as the culling is going to be able to just completely annihilate Gemini. That's another kill foul. That's another kill onto Maple, who sits comfortably at 3-0. Now PSG, they're looking for this dive. Jimmy has been able to heal up to about half HP, but both these tanks, both these engaged champions are full as the teleport now coming through from both these top laners to try and find an angle, but Jiang may be able to keep his mid laner alive, but what an equalizer. Jimmy's just taken out. It's Relentless Pursuit, and just the double tap will be able to confirm that kill as bullet time comes through. Jiang able to sidestep away from that, and Wako trying to find his way and won't be able to do so. That's 1 kill going down. Kaiwing is as well, and only Wako survives as Gemini respawning, but PSG are just sprinting away with game number 2.
Yeah, fully stacked tiers now on the side of the Frank carries, but no Muramana's completed. They keep opting into these fights before they finish their spikes, and it's very one-sided, as you can see.
Yeah, and I think we're at the stage of the game where we start thinking about the next one. 8K gold advantage, 20 minutes in. Yeah. PSG, while, you know, yes, Frank scale fine. I don't think they outscale by any stretch of the imagination. This Misfortune champ will just get stronger and stronger as this game progresses. And Lucian, as well, these days, does scale very well with just how well he synergizes with items.
Yeah, in Maple's hands especially, we've seen him become a monster in the late game and takeover games. Not all that much CC to deal with him either, and skill shot based carries on the enemy team. Plenty of opportunity for PSG to outplay if this one does go late, but I mean, Frank are going to have to get there first.
Yeah, now they did pick up those 2 early dragons, which is going to delay at least that sort of Dragon Soul win condition. But yeah, the Baron being started up, Woody and Betty here trying to dissuade any forward progress in the jungle, try to dissuade any way of getting vision. And down to half HP with only Junja and Maple hitting it. Artie will come now, overheat, and start melting through that health as Woody getting engaged on Jung, though, realizing it is not safe for him to just walk on forward, and it is that Baron taken out. So 21 minutes in, and PSG are very comfortably in the lead. It's 9K gold advantage, and the Baron just picked up as they're going to start to now head towards some of these inner tower objectives.
Yeah, and right now, if you're Frank, you have to be kicking yourself because you had an opportunity to just give up the 3rd dragon. Instead, the way the game plays out, because you fight that dragon, you have to give up a Baron at 21 minutes, which is almost impossible to come back from, especially when you add this gold lead on top.
Yeah, and now everyone redeploying onto the map. PSG, they will have 2.5 minutes to make use of this Baron. Last game we saw Frank only able to take the 1 tower, but certainly a lot stronger PSG in this game in comparison to Frank last game. So we'll see what they're able to get. Betty should be able to start hitting away at this inner tower. In the mid lane, Maple likewise here on the bottom side as that double R was used. Minion wave crashing means at least this tower is going to go down. Betty was able to get that top tower. And Arja is going to play safe enough around the fact there are 3 people trying to hunt him down in that top lane.
Yeah, and this is just going to be another game, it looks like, where Wako does not get to play at all on this Ezreal. By the time he gets his 2-item spike, his team is 9k gold behind and up against Baron.
Maple's doing so much damage. Betty, I mean, he's the AD carry, and there's no way to engage on him outside of an Alistar as the Glacial Prison does go wide, but that is the inhibitor tower in the mid lane taken out. Yeah, Kaiwing looking for something on the flank here, but the Scrying Orb going to spot him out. Look how much damage Maple is doing to this Udyr.
Yeah, and like, what are you supposed to do as Udyr? You are just a punching bag.
Gemini finds his way onto Junja. Junja no ult, but in comes Magnastorm, in comes absolutely everything. The flash away here from Gemini, and he will be able to get that Pyroclasm out, but Maple jumps on in. He actually jumps into that Brand ult, but he's able to run away. Bullet Tie still available. No, it's not actually Betty using it, but he's just running forward. One more attack will do it. There it is. And down will go Yijiang. Waku trying to find damage back. But that was a 4v5 as Arja now crashing that top lane tower. Inhib bot, inhib mid, and inhib top. Certain to fall as it's a 4v5. And PSG are trying to get this one across the line.
Yeah, it was damn near a 1v5. Betty is just running at them alone. And no opportunity to turn for Frank.
Yeah, Lifesteal and Warmogs means that everyone on PSG back to full HP, and it truly is a 4v5 with Yijiang spawning in 15 seconds. It's up to these other 4 members of Frank to see what sort of defense they can mount. Teleport now coming through as Arja looks to rejoin his team. He's going to get poked out by Wako, who is doing a lot of damage, but he does E forward, and with that down comes the Equalizer, zoning everyone away from these minions. Kaiwing's looked at, he does use that Unbreakable Will, but he's going to have to try and go away. The only engaged tool is that Headbutt Pulverize, and he uses it to escape as Nexus Tower number 2 goes down. It's a 5v5 now, but PSG are just so far in the lead. It's 15k gold advantage and only a Nexus stands between them and taking us to the 3rd game with a 2-0 lead in the series. Kaiwing trying to find Junja, but Junja flashes on out of there. Maple just taking out Gemini on the side, does get stunned up, but the culling should be good enough. There it is, and the Nexus, all that needs to be done is a few auto attacks. Wako up against his old teammate, will get the shot down. Is on the top side, it is also Jimmy who does the same, but it's PSG who take the win.
Oh, it looked a little bit shaky at the end there, but my goodness, I think that was a 23-minute end by PSG. Frank legitimately never got to play that game. I'm not sure if Gemini even managed to get on the board.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it was just clean the entire time. There was not really any time in that game where you thought, wow, PSG could have played this a little bit cleaner. They dove top perfectly fine, dove bot perfectly fine. It all looked very good. Waku did find that 1 kill onto Woody in the bot dive, but aside from that, just a flawless game. And once again, it's just PSG Talon just showing their macro prowess and how much better they are at running across the map that gets it done.
And it was essentially just a draft run back from Frank. They swapped Lucian for Corki. No difference really, it's just some ADC in the mid lane that Jimmy's going even on. And we have confirmed it wasn't a fluke first game. We've got to change something about this draft. This is not working at all. They don't even get to play.
Yeah. There is always the chance that they do just put in Pretender here for the remainder of their series, or at least for a game or 2 here, because obviously what's happening now is not working. They aren't necessarily falling that far behind just off their individual lanes, but there's just nothing really happening for them, right? The map is just kind of completely quiet on the side of Frank, and PSG are just running around, doing whatever they want, taking tower plays, taking towers, and yeah, I'm not exactly sure what you do against that, but whatever it is right now is not working.
Yeah, honestly, it would be a shame to sub out Jimmy, as he's doing honestly pretty well in losing matchups up against Maple, but you kind of just do have to change something.
Yeah.
Whether it's pick blue side this time around, put Pretender in, just change something. The Ezreal has just looked absolutely abysmal. I think a lot of the strength of the Ezreal is that you can pick it alongside things like the Karma. If the enemy team, especially on red side, if the enemy team picks a greedy bot lane like MF Rel that doesn't like to be shoved in, lock a Karma and just push them up against their tower. Kaiwing never willing to do that.
Yeah, and that's kind of a problem we're seeing here with Frank, right, is that we saw last series, if Waka can get off the ground and have a good looking early game for himself, then he can just get this team across the line. He can really carry that game almost 1v9. but he hasn't been able to do so. He's struggling to find recall timings. He's struggling to find the CS that Betty's able to find. Betty getting a lot more tower plates and gold and also resources. Just Junja spending more time in his lane, making sure that Wako can't get away from his tower. And I think looking forward, Frank, they have to change something up. We obviously saw in the last series that it was very much Wako carrying, because I think Arja's taking a seat on his coach's lap there in the back.
My goodness.
Getting real snug back there.
Yeah, maybe not enough seats in the PSG back room there, maybe needing some help. And this was a straight up 3v3 that was not even close. Gemini has already lost his flash earlier on. The Kaiwing's Alistair being CC'd there means he can't block any of the solution ult for Maple, and this results in, I think, 4 members of Frank going down, only Wako surviving, who gets here so late. We'll see, he's running up here, but MF is honestly just a much faster champion. What a clean equalizer.
Yeah.
As well from Aja. Again, way more impact than this Udyr, who's just running around in circles, man. Doing nothing.
Yeah.
Nice knock up there from Kaiwing, but where's his damage?
I think ultimately, this is what Udyr looks like when Aja's not piloting it.
Yeah, every time.
And like, the lane is like, yeah, you're going even, but it kind of sucks to just have an Udyr that's gone even.
Yeah.
Because then, yeah, I don't know. I mean, 8k damage, yes, you're not really there to do the damage, but it's not enough. You also had a brand that just did less damage than a Sejuani.
Yep, that was horrifying. I'm impressed Wako did this much damage this game.
Yeah.
He straight up didn't get to play this game. By the time he finished his spike, as I said, he's up against Baron and 6 Void Grubs. He actually just can't get a Q through anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, pretty clear cut.
Look at that gold
Who would
graph.
be your MVP this game? I think Maple maybe just deserves it with, you know, forcing out a flash early and never really misstepping.
To me, the biggest gap was honestly in the jungle this game, so I might give it to Junjia.
Yeah, that's fair.
Gemini just not able to do anything useful for his team at all this game. And I think in those kinds of games, as the brand, you have to just walk into lanes that you're losing and just hit the wave with them, get them priority. He had the opportunity to do that bot lane, to get his Ezreal a quick recall, but decides to just recall with none of his camps even up on the top side. Yeah, needs to find a way to have impact or drop the brand.
Yeah, fair enough. Not really anything too surprising across these stats as Betty with the most gold despite not the most kills, but that's because he is picking up like double the CS of the clock, so...
Yeah, and also ran around taking every tower.
Yeah. Will be actually Betty picking up the MVP, and I think that's fine as well. I mean, that last team fight where he is just 1v9ing, just sitting there running forward at the Udyr is Misfortune.
Yep, running at all 5 of them, actually, in that last team fight. After cleaning up all the towers, gets his Bloodthirster on the MF, and Wako just never gets to do anything to this champion.
Yeah, I mean, it's rough, right? Now you're Frank, you're down 2-0 in the series, and what do you even do? Because it doesn't... PSG just aren't making mistakes.
And this felt again like the previous game around the same time. Frank just get frustrated and opt into a fight that makes 0 sense for them. As well as just how it's played by Kaiwing makes no sense. Junjia gets headbutt into the dragon as a Sejuani, smites it away, says thank you very much, and then carries on the fight, frontlining for his Misfortune. Betty, incredible ult out of him. Cool MF skin.
Yeah,
I've seen that.
I've never seen that one before.
Me neither. What even is that MF skin?
No, don't get me on mold with that skin, because I'm never guessing that one, right? What on earth? But yeah, I don't know. Just clean from PSG, ultimately. I don't really see any cracks in the armor. We hadn't seen them in 2 weeks, nearly 3 weeks now, and it's like, well, maybe they'll be a bit rusty. Certainly not looking like it as, yeah, you know, early game of game 1, there's a few mistakes that dive, but ever since that, it's just been so clean.
Yeah, and I think at this point, you need to go try Ivern or something to get yourself some tank or some utility champ for Gemini, because he is doing nothing on this carry brand. And just a really sloppy game from him as well in terms of spells and skill shots.
Yeah.
Frank, big changes need to come in.
Yep, big changes do need to come, and they have to come quick because they are now down 2-0 in the series. PSG looking to get it done in 3. When we're back, we'll see if Frank can fight back.
有没大牛看牛看牛，牛还有 WQ 哦，哎没大票，这没大，我10秒大了，看能不能要不要等我大？可以帮他点了，他们不出来了，他们不守家，3秒大，就手就被踩到了，哦2秒，要踩，你要投闪，然后他想硬开了，来看蝴蝶，救我拜托。 这个飞机要拆啊！哎，牛头，哎，完了啊！别去啊！这也死啊！
关键时刻，握着阿嬷帮我准备的球拍，让我更有把握赢球。阿嬷，好睡了，
睡哦。
家人的爱是多年的依赖，就像我多年以来依赖中华电信。金白来，最疼我的家人，最挺我的中华电信，舞动精彩，共创未来，
永远走在最前面。中华电信。
旅客陈志明，华航直飞西雅图的班机即将准备登机。
旅客何淑慧，华航直飞西雅图的班机即将准备登机。
China Airlines passenger Michael Chen, your direct flight to Seattle is now ready for boarding.
华航直飞西雅图，7月14正式起航。
好想吃花雕鸡面哦，可是还在加班。
阿嬷，加班也能来碗酒香补一补哦。
就是这味道，
这碗花雕鸡面帮你补身又补心，
好满足哦。
还有麻油鸡面，赶走你疲累的寒意。要不要再来碗花雕酸菜牛肉面？暖心酒香的丰盛美味，台酒酒香经典系列。
难得皇上莅临蒙古，臣等备好贡品向皇上进献。
好想吃哦！
特此献上，此为酒香蒙古锅牛肉面，
就是这味道，浓郁的汤头为牛臀骨风味，还有孜然香，淋上5加皮料理酒，更有层次。这真是宫廷御膳顶级享受。
台酒御膳堂酒香蒙古锅牛肉面。
Moving slowly, so hot you're burning. We've been waiting, slow jam season. Don't be shy now, nighttime romance, golden moments. Don't stop dancing. We got tonight to be happy. Let's take our time and be happy. Come on, baby, won't you dance with me? Say, ooh la la, I like the way it feels. Ooh la la, don't be shy now, let me say, ooh la la, I like the way it feels. Ooh la la, this is what we came to do. Ooh la la, eh, we came to party. Ooh la la, eh, we came to party. Ooh la la, eh, we came to party. Ooh la la, eh, this is what we came to do. Hold up, not too fast. We got time, gon' make it last. Champagne glasses, hear them. I'ma move like this, you gon' buy me a diamond.
So jump on it. Come on, I know you want it. Raise them glasses to the sky. It's our time, we own the night. We got tonight to be happy. Let's take our time and be happy. Come on, baby, won't you dance with me? Say, ooh la la, I like the way it feels. Ooh la la, don't be shy now, let me say. Ooh la la, I like the way it feels. Ooh la la, this is what we came to do. Ooh la la, eh. We came to party. Ooh la la, eh. We came to party. We came to party. We came to party. We came to party. This is what we came to do. Come on, baby, don't be shy. Come on, 'cause you and I, we own the night. We gon' take it slowly, right up till the morning. You know it. Come on, baby, won't you dance with me? Ooh la la, I like the way it feels. Ooh la la, don't be shy now, let me say. Ooh la la, I like the way it feels. Ooh la la, this is what we came to do. Ooh la la, eh. We came to party. Ooh la la, we came to party. Ooh la la, eh. We came to party. Ooh la la,
Yeah. Come from nothing in the world, but it's all good. Catch you looking at the stars like we all should. I'll be lighting up the sky like a star burns. I've been standing in the shadow, now it's my turn. See me aiming at the mark with my eyes closed. I'll be shaping up the rock with the grindstone. Now I'm stepping up my game, got my mind set. I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. Woo! What's good? I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. Woo! I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. When you hear them go wild, it's a home crowd. But you never slow down when it's sold out. I'll be ready for it, I can take it home. When you see me in the frame, I'm a Van Gogh. Watch the heads turn, see the sky burn. Catch you looking at my style, but you'll never learn. When it's all done, when it's all said, I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. Woo! What's good? I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. I'll be dancing in the stars like a silhouette. touching on me, I'm feeling so good. Go write that check, cause I'm feeling too much confidence on that heavyweight flex. I've been earning and working, everybody want this. I'm untouchable, stacked up, Greek God. I got that thunder and lightning, energy rush. I've been winning and winning since the day I was made. Bet you wanna be like me. I'm always on top of the game. Ain't never gonna touch second place. Nah, never. I'm always on top of the game. You know that I win, that I win, that I win, that I win. I was born to be best, go 100%. Cause all I do is win and win and win and win. You already know. I got the world in my hands. I'm like a perfect diamond, I'm red. Cause all I do is win and win and win and win. You already know. So welcome to the fire. I'm the one with the light. Feel it burning through your veins. Just for walking through the flames, getting higher. Welcome to the fire.
Welcome back, everybody, for what could be the final time tonight. And, of course, FAK Esports aren't going to want that to be the case. They are now subbing in Pretender and taking the blue side for themselves. So definitely going to be a different look.
Yeah, I really like this. Just change everything, start throwing stuff at the wall and hoping something sticks, because so far they haven't even really gotten to play. In that last game, until they were fountain diving, until PSG were fountain diving Frank, they kept them to 1 kill the entire game. And that kill was off of a dive that Wako had to commit both his sums to trade back a kill. But yeah, here is Pretender as stated in the mid lane. So it's going to be a bit of a switch up. Maybe he can bring morale up a little bit. Pretender might need to. We'll get to see the player cams. There he is.
There he is. He's smiling away. Just happy to be here.
Yeah, not put in the greatest of spots up against the strongest team likely in this playoffs. Down 2 games already. Back against the wall. Pretender. We'll see if he's got it in him.
And that's the man he's got to try and compete with. And
flawless.
He's been on a bit of a tear in these past couple games.
Yeah, flawless, especially in game 1. Just opening up the map from his team from actually slightly behind after the early game of game 1. Finds turrets all over the map. We'll see what he goes for up against old Pretender.
So, Zyra once again banned. I mean, Rumble now has to be thought of because Jung has looked pretty stable on the Rumble so far in the playoffs.
Yeah, Champy's definitely added to his repertoire and looked quite good on it. Frank banning the Ashe on blue side. Something they've done quite a bit, not willing to put Wako on it. Is better on the hyper carries, I think, Wako, than the lane bullies and enabling support.
Yeah, we'll see what they go for. But,
Riven.
Yeah, just already.
Yeah, banned earlier on the red side than on the blue side for PSG, interestingly.
Maybe just realizing backs against the wall, Frank most likely would want to look for comfort.
Yeah, just blind pick a Riven. Been done before.
Yeah, he did it last series up in CFO. It's the Rumble.
Rumble. So what are they setting up to first pick here?
Cassante.
Maybe Lilia?
Yeah, Lilia, Cassante.
Cassante, yeah, it feels rough locking in the Cassante blind into...
Arjun, yeah, it's banned.
Yeah. Oh, banned away, actually. So I would think just Lilia here. Maybe the MF is something we'd see internationally. Yeah, Lucian does just run into Tristana, though. We kind of saw how that went game 1.
And the Yone left open this time. Jimmy not playing.
Yeah, there's the Lilia, and PSG now have banned probably the best response into the Lilia in the Maokai. they haven't forgotten this. So I'm expecting Junjie to have something for the Lilia. I'd be disappointed if he was just going to play Sejuani into this.
Oh my god, I hope... No. Boo. I don't think I've ever seen Junjie play Lee Sin, but I imagine it would be fun to watch.
Yeah, he's likely very good on the champion. Just very good at everything, that guy. Yeah, I'm a little disappointed to just see the self-counter pick in the Sejuani. Feels like PSG just relying on being more skilled rather than intelligent drafting, but we'll see what they pair with the Sejuani. Maybe there is ultimately a game plan here. You kind of expect Pretender to be on the Corki, as I believe that is all he has played so far this playoffs. And that makes the Lucian pick a no-brainer.
Already kind of feels like a no-brainer. Maple, so good at the champ.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was nothing that Jimmy really had. Just played the Corki into it anyway. And we'll see how Pretender does. I don't disagree with picking the Corki into the Lucian. You do lose out on Prio in this lane, but as stated before, the Corki mega scaling. Problem is, Lilia Corki just can't kill anything for most of the game. So you need CC somewhere, whether it's up top.
Well, Kaiwing will.
Yeah, Kaiwing certainly will be on something, but give him some help, I think. It's so difficult for him to play just solo engaged against a team as good as PSG. Unless it's maybe exactly Nautilus.
Maybe the third game of Alistair in a row.
Yeah, blind Alistair again into PSG. You are going to be punished for doing this.
Braum could come through.
Yeah, might just be Braum immediately, and then Lucian actually opens up as a three-way flex.
Ooh. The possible cannon into double blanket ban.
Yeah, I like this. PSG used this top lane third pick really well.
Yeah.
They'll pick their top laner, ban 3 champs. They've already banned 2 top laners, so they can just eliminate every single counter pick. And it feels like they kind of get two last picks, because they get to save that last pick for very likely Woody. They're going to wait to see the entire bot lane of Frank, and then just pick something horrific for Wako and Kaiwing to play into. Woody feels like he can just play everything.
Yeah, Narban up against the Kennen, like, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the other pick that we've seen into the Kennen is Aurora. At least internationally, and that is just banned away by Riot Games.
Classic.
So it's actually 4 top bans. Braum banned away by Frank. I agree with this.
Now, last ban to come through for PSG. It doesn't feel like there's really anything the Kennen's too worried about now. But we'll see.
Yeah, maybe they've got something they want to ban away. As Junjie yawning once again to celebrate a Sejuani game. Renekton is the last ban, and if you're Frank, you don't have to ban Rakan, you don't have to ban Leona. So maybe just a Rel. Makes sense to me. Though it's unlikely, honestly, already that Woody is playing Rel this game. Probably gonna just play a range support and punish this Alistair. Never let him get going.
You could just go for Misfortune Rel, and then you have Misfortune Rel Kennen, which seems really disgusting.
Yeah, and gonna be difficult for Frank. There is this area available, and I'm really hoping to see it out of Wako. This looked like his best champ by far, and has just delivered Frank all their wins against these top teams. CFO is the team I'm thinking of.
Yeah, maybe Beta going to be playing the Israel this time. Wako actually doing pretty well considering what he had to go up against.
Irelia probably sucks into Kennen, right?
No, it's good.
It's good into Kennen. Yeah, I was thinking it might be, but...
Because you just get Merc Shreds and the stun doesn't matter anymore. You can just jump on him and you win that 1v1.
Yeah, okay, maybe an option. As a...
But then you're just stuck with an Aurelia in your team is the problem. Oh, okay. So Wako going to be on the Smolder.
Yep, I don't expect it to go top lane. Into Kennen doesn't seem amazing. Probably just getting one shot.
I'm surprised we haven't seen any Amumu. I miss that champ now.
Yeah, where is Amumu? Neither of these players strike me as Amumu players, though.
We'll see it tomorrow. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this has been used as a counter pick internationally. I think Dudu over in the LCK, one of the best names in the competitive scene, has taken this into the cannon. The Poppy makes 0 sense, just for fun Poppy hover.
Well, it does cancel a Alistair engage, but yeah, that's about it. Rakan makes more sense, just being able to sort of dip and dive through the team fights when, you know, it's always very good when you have high mobility team. You're able to sort of pair with your Lucian if he's going aggressive, jump back to peel if you need to, and can kind of do everything all at once. Kind of the jack of all trades, master at none champion is the Rakan.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised they don't go for something like the Karma and just try to end this game in 15 minutes up against the Smolder, but Frank do have a fighting chance in the spot lane. This is not like the previous bot lane matchups. Smolder not the best early game AD carry, but at least the support matchup is okay for Kaiwing. And jungle matchup looks good. We'll see how top plays out.
Yeah, I remember I saw a clip of the Nasus into Kennen, and Nasus just solo killed him.
Cool.
So
that's good.
There must be something good about this matchup. Obviously, it's nice to have that Wither.
Yeah.
One of the best basic abilities in the game, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. When I play against Nasus in solo queue, he just hits level 6. No matter how hard I've been beating him in lane, and then he just bashes my head in. With Ghost, probably Ghost for Jiang in this game.
Yeah, I think you need Ghost on champs like Nasus. Otherwise,
yeah,
you sort of just walk around in circles doing nothing.
I wonder if he wants Exhaust. Ghost Exhaust?
Lots of smiles on the face of Frank Esports. Gemini in particular.
Yeah.
Maybe discussing why his top laner trolled him.
Yeah.
Heading you, why are you troll?
Yeah, Gemini not spending much time in the top lane this series and won't start now with a Nasus on his team. Ghost TP is the choice. Kaiwing has neglected to go for an Exhaust against Kennen. I think Aja is going to make him pay for that one.
Yeah, at least once this game, there's going to be a massive Kennen ult that is not avoidable in the slightest.
Yeah, and it's so bizarre because that means he's expecting to kill in the 2v2 as Alistair Smolder. We will see if that is how this one pans out. I find that hard to believe.
Yeah, they did get Omega ahead last time, like it was on the Smolder, up against Ground Zero it was, in game number 3.
Yeah, I can't remember what the ADC was. Was it Zeri?
Varus, I think. No, you're right. It was Zeri.
They straight up took a tower at like 11 minutes.
Yeah. It was Zeri. But, I mean, we'll see. It doesn't strike me as a lane you're going to be looking for kills in, and so it would, I mean, make sense to take Exhaust against Kennen, but not going for this game, maybe relying on Wither to slow down the Kennen from getting in and headbutt to hit him out. But so many times we see this headbutt from Alistair actually just do nothing to the Kennen.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you just have to know exactly where the Kennen is, and PSG is so good at setting up vision so that their Kennen can be unseen with these TP flanks. And about the jungle pathing this game, on Lilia, probably the strongest thing you can do is start the enemy Raptors. With Conqueror, you are just stronger than every jungler. Pretty much every champ in the game at level 1. But that could mean his Raptors being traded away because his bot lane is just so weak at level 1, the Smolder Alistair, and you do not want to have a split map where you're stuck topside as the Lilia of this game. I think he wants to play around his bot lane and leave the Nasus. What happened to all this Kennen's HP?
Oh, I think he's just tanking up a few shots, but yeah, Jiang doing very well navigating the early stage of this lane.
Yeah, and left to their own devices, it looks like the Nasus does very well here. Has to get to level 6 without getting dived on the Nasus, as Pretender is faring far worse than Jimmian in this lane.
Oh my lord, it's almost Maple solo killing this Corki again.
Yeah,
Different
has
player.
held onto his TP. Has Pretender, but trading far worse in terms of HP compared to Jimmian. Pick your poison, I guess. What you prefer between losing your flash and having to lose your TP early.
Yeah, most likely will be matched though. Maple now looking for a recall, probably going to come back with a Cullinan longsword or something akin to that.
Ooh, Woody takes a tower shot. That feels nice for Frank's bot lane.
Yeah, but they also do claim themselves plate number 1
on the first crash. And this time, actually, Betty decided to not go for his tier. Had the option to, crashing the third wave very early there. Gemini, we're seeing why you don't usually take the Sejuani into the Lilia. This is not a close 1v1 at all. So well played by Gemini to find where the Sejuani is going to be, contest him on the crab, make use of how much stronger he is in this matchup.
Maybe able to get a double crab now.
Yep, and can push Maple away, provide some help for his mid laner here.
Oh,
nice E.
What a beast.
I don't think I've ever landed that spell playing Lilia. So well played to Gemini. And Jung owning up here, my goodness.
Yeah, up 10 CS, gonna force Arda to recall and come back to lane, punishing this blind pick Kennen very well.
Yeah, we might have a game on our hands here.
Might have a damn series on our hands.
Aja already TPing. I don't think he's even going to force Jiang's TP out here. Kennen not amazing at wave clearing. Wako and Kaiwing have to crash this wave now. Both junglers bot side, so they should be okay, considering how much stronger the Lilia is at this point compared to the Sejuani. Betty, at this point, probably really regretting not going for the tier recall.
We'll be able to soon, I imagine.
Yeah, Wako just finds himself up quite a bit of mana, up CS until even CS, to be fair. Betty's going to pick up some extra creeps here. But a really good bot lane so far for the side of Frank. Maybe the psychological edge gained through taking Ignite. As PSG looked like they expected an exhaust for sure. Taking the cleanse, generally a lot better against exhaust than Ignite, and the heal, same deal.
Yeah, Jung up so much CS.
Yeah, it's this mid lane that's the problem. Pretender not faring as well as Jimian. Nice Q lands for Pretender. Gonna get level 6 soon, and that'll help his trades out.
But as was the case in the previous games, Maple stacking away at a cull.
Yeah, this
Jung
time
now.
also just with a massive CS lead.
Junja has actually seen... Oh my lord, we've pulled the ghost button.
Yeah, not holding his nerve there, Jiang, and they're rotating Maple up here with all his prio.
Yeah, I mean, you know, down 2-0, you got to be pretty nervous as he once again will connect with that E-Will Gemini.
Yeah,
Will Seed.
Gemini would love to fight this ASAP before Junjia gets 6. Woody, the target.
Yeah, but he has that battle dance available to himself, able to get out very easily, and actually now goes back in. Will force away the Valkyrie from Pretender.
Kennen is 6.
Junja able to pick up 2 of those Void Grubs and just give over Gemini this third and final one, but headed towards the bot side, maybe look for a dragon if he so chooses as well.
Yeah, Gemini deadly accurate with these E's, but he is currently homeless as a jungler, cannot contest this dragon, and has no camps to kill. So would have loved to fight there with how much stronger he is at this point, but the rest of his team is just not there for it. Gonna go do his Raptors now. Junjia gonna be 6 very soon. Yeah, off the crab. And that means this dragon is uncontestable. Gemini does hit 6 as well.
Yeah, maybe looking to contest.
Yeah, Ezreal not even that strong relative to the Smolder right now. Definitely stronger.
Oh, Gemini missing that Q means he will be losing out on that passive.
Yeah, would have loved to keep his stacks there.
Oh, the nice stop on that engage coming through.
Here we go.
Once again, a smite from Gemini. He's so consistent with it as Kaiwing flashes away, as Junja flashes in and gets caught out. Now Pretender's coming down at Penny and Woody trying to run away. Mum will come down, maybe snipe away at this Rakan, but not quite able to connect as Woody jumps on out of there, and it's a trade of kill and dragon for just nothing. And Frank take a lead early.
Yeah, and I'm liking Gemini on this Lilia already. Buffered on the headbutt hold there, but he splashes in, smite steals it, lands a 3-man ulti. You couldn't ask for more from Gemini after such a slow game too. He wakes up in this game and puts his team in a commanding position now. As in the meanwhile, by the way, Pretender just Yeah, his team not even that excited. Kind of just expecting their jungler to win every smite, I guess.
Yeah, at this
just
point.
the norm.
At this point, if he doesn't, you're extremely disappointed.
Yeah. Yeah, you're surprised, actually.
Yeah.
Why don't we have a dragon? There was a dragon killed.
Well, Woody getting jumped on here by Kaiwing, but he's going to be able to jump on over to
Lucian. In the meantime, I was going to say, Pretender just completely out-traded Maple while that was happening, and Maple had no chance to rotate. So bouncing back in this lane, in terms of CS as well, doing fine. Not doing it quite as well as Jimmy, I'd say, but...
Someone who's not doing well, though, is RJ up here in the top lane.
Yeah, this is suffering.
Jiang is destroying.
Now, I will admit, I would much rather have a Kennen on my team than a Nasus. So you almost have to win this hard on the Nasus and start getting these stacks going to be a side lane threat later on.
Oh, Christian, Waka caught up the barrier. E forward.
Okay.
And the Mystic Shot will connect. Waka, though,
Plus
he does
2.
stay alive.
Yeah, +2 on the way out, too. 62 stacks for him is perfectly fine, I think. Got no problems with that. Does accelerate the smolder stacking. Once you get to, I believe, 125.
Yeah.
Can never remember if it's 115 or 125.
125. 115 is the zombie song.
Oh.
Pretender, Valkyrie, the culling. Not going to be able to connect there as Pretender does flash away, but Maple once again handing this lane to Pretender.
Yep, a lot of pressure at Junjia. Oh, that was terrifying for the Quirky, but Gemini going to appreciate picking up some of this farm, honestly, as he's looking on form to maybe carry this one. They've allowed him to get what is seemingly the strongest jungler in the game now, between the Lilia and Zyra, in my opinion. Betty up here.
Yeah, Betty up here ahead of these Void Grubs, and I'm kind of surprised that out of all games, we didn't see PSG trying to look for a lane swap this game. Well, yeah, you know, giving the Smolder a free lane sucks, but you just would...
I think they didn't expect the Kennen to get destroyed this thoroughly.
Yeah.
I certainly didn't.
You know, me neither.
I knew it was a counter to the Kennen that was being played in the LCK, but I hadn't actually gotten to see the matchup. Aja. Ulti's the wave. Is still just dead, though, but gets the wave.
Oh, it's a nice...
Woody's here.
Yeah, the Battle Dance coming through. It's a quickness as well, but going to bed now is that top laner of PSG, Woody. He's stuck under this tower. There is no help coming. Who is going to pick up this kill, although...
He just dies anyway.
Maple coming and...
Maple might die too.
Maple maybe, yeah.
Nah, no CC back here to stop him from just leaving, I think.
Although Gemini's doing a lot of damage. Maple trading pretty well, but Wako here now, and it's a disaster. 4 kills in favor of Frank, and they're fighting back in game number 2. They're up 2k gold. Things looking good.
Yeah, and these are the kind of mistakes we saw out of West Point and J-Team, never PSG, over committing members to their weak side. I was surprised that Woody was here in the first place. This is not how you need to play this fight if you're Aja, considering Woody's here. If Woody's here, you have to play for the outplay rather than clearing the wave. Clearing the wave is fine if you're just sacking the Kennen here. But once you use your ulti on the wave and Woody tries to save you, there's no damage coming back. Jiang, on the other hand...
Yeah, he's locked up. He does try and use everything he can to get out of this, and he might just do so. Too tanky is Jiang on the Nasus.
Not scared of the Q out of this Ezreal either. Oh, this might be the legendary triple Triforce composition. Out of Frank, it should be. As Jiang actually has his TP back, so Gank survived. He did make it to level 6 and becomes extremely difficult to dive. Treat yourself and read the tooltip on Nasus ulti sometime. Just see how many stats that champion gains. As it is the case with a lot of these older champions that because their kits are so outdated, their numbers are just obscene in terms of stats.
And treat yourself and read his passive too. It's one line of text.
Yeah, that too.
One of the
simpler time.
The few champs in the game that is the case for.
Yeah, newer champs passive kind of reads like a novel. Or at the very least an Edgar Allan Poe poem or something.
Now, Dragon, number 2, in favor of Frank. It was PSG who, while that dive happened bot side, were able to pick up 3 more Void Grubs, so they do sit on 5, but 2 Dragons once again for Frank in game number 3. They are ahead this time to an almost, I guess, just over 2k gold. But you kind of, as you said, you kind of need to be right in terms of this top lane in particular, because the Kennen, in theory, will just be a lot more useful than the Nasus in a team fight. But 2 levels up is Yijiang on this Nasus, as the bot lane tower also taking a heavy amount of damage.
Yeah, and it feels like Frank kind of straight up won bot lane when you consider it is a Smolder. As Pretender has to get his butt out of there. And yeah, PSG looking to group for this tower, realizing they're going to lose first tower if the game stays as it is, and they're going to go for a dive on Pretender. No flash on this Corki, but his team is here.
Also, one thing I noticed, we're not getting the based Arja Kennen build. He's going for the Leandries.
Yeah, maybe just needs it to hang on in the side lane.
Wako, yeah, very, very low here. He's going to have to use that barrier. It's a nice stop of that ultimate from Sejuani. Gemini getting in the way of it, but Woody's here. Woody got the quickness, and True Shot Barrage goes wide. A misplaced ultimate there from Betty, but he's able to get over this wall. He gets headbutted back into Wako. One more Q would do it. Can he find it? No, he doesn't even need it. Just the auto attack takes down that Smolder. And Kaiwing delivering Betty a kill.
Yeah, Betty single-handedly breaks the game open by finding Wako, lacking in the mid lane there. And might have just won his team the first tower. We'll see how Pretender and Kaiwing manage to hold on. Maple, very low HP.
Yeah, it does have a bit of lifesteal, but as you said, very low. Probably not going to be able to heal enough to justify going for a dive.
Wako just dizzy here. Walking up the river against the much stronger Ezreal at this point in the game. Dodges a couple Qs, and ultimately it's Junjia with this very tricky ulti onto Gemini. Expecting, he gets the most out of the way he plays that with the Sejuani, right? Because Wako's going to flash it anyway. You end up chunking out the Lilia. And Ignite, not doing a whole lot there, gets cleansed immediately.
Yeah, and Kaiwing just headbutting Betty right into Wako.
Yeah.
And he was getting a kill either way, but just changed on, was it going to be a kill onto the Lilia, was it going to be a kill onto the Smolder? And Smolder it was. Probably didn't want it to be the Smolder, but in any case, Frank, they're still looking good. They're still up 1.5k gold, but Ginger now looking for Yijiang on the bottom side. He's going to have that ultimate available to himself. The Wither as well as Maple getting headshot by the tower.
Comes Woody though. Dodge.
Yeah, Jiang got those fancy feet, but eventually will be found as Maple claims himself a kill there on the Nasus. It's Pretender, however, taking the tower, but PSG somehow narrowly getting that first tower.
Yeah, Frank do get the Rift Herald. You can count the first tower as kind of getting an extra turret though, so they do have to pressure mid with this, and looks like they're doing the right thing. No cleanse on Betty. He has to be careful interacting with Gemini here.
Yeah, I mean, Ginger here
has ult.
Glacial Prison does go wide there. It's going to slow down Kaiwing just a little bit, but Betty's finding so much damage on this Ezreal. Deadly accurate is he with these Mystic shots, as Pretender now being looked at the E forward, and that's half your HP gone.
They gave up a tier 2.
Oh, Maple, yeah, soloing it.
Yeah, just horrible macro from the side of Frank. Pretender takes the tower top and doesn't recall, just kind of runs around, and they feel really pressured to do something with their Rift Herald immediately. PSG outplay the fight mid and outplay the macro too. Has to be frustrating if you're Frank.
Maple in trouble. Oh no, he just eat into this Nasus, and he's going to have to flash away. The culling being used. Woody, he's going to sleep. Good night, sweet prince, as Woody is going to be taken out, although he flashes away. He uses that quickness. He might just get out. The E. Oh my god, he does. And what happened there? Oh, Mum came down and Woody survives.
Oh no, Frank are just getting outplayed. Oh, they just can't catch a break.
And that is Maple, who hasn't recalled after picking up a kill and a tier 2 tower.
And a first blood
tier 1 tower.
So he's about to recall and buy 20 items. Full SC Reaver I just saw. As the bowling ball goes wide this time around. Jiang very nicely peeled by Woody. Gemini tanking a lot of this culling, and then decides to not chase Woody here and just kind of run at the Lucian. None of his team is following up. I think he expected Kaiwing to wrap around behind this Lucian. He probably should have. Maple not quite having flash up there, and game's just falling apart for Frank. Now dead even.
Dead even, but so much gold here on the Lucian.
Yeah.
Evening up that kill score in terms of those two mid laners, but picking up 2 towers for himself, and he is going to be scaling into this game very quickly. Wako, though, He is making his way to those stacks. 163 he sits at right now.
Yep, stacking, well, not amazingly. You know, good, not great, as far as the smolder stacks go, but what is great is having 2 dragons already, meaning you can just ignore these ocean dragons going over to PSG. A nice macro from Frank. This time they're punishing PSG. Someone please recall and stop the solution from taking an inhib when you get the chance.
Yeah, someone needs to recall. They are going to get this tower, and through will come this recall eventually. But it's going to be the mid lane. It's going to be Wako who's trying to stack up. That's going to get caught out. Permafrost's going to land. Gemini's now here, but he might be just a little bit too late. He's going to have that sleep available. No, he doesn't. Yeah, the Lucky Lullaby not up. And Woody finds his way in. The flash away from Gemini does keep him alive, and Woody will be going down. No ultimate on that Rakan means there's not really all that much play, but Betty's still just sitting here, firing away these Mystic shots. In the meanwhile, though, Maple, he's just farming away. He's working now on this mid lane tower, just picking up more and more gold for himself as PSG just win 4v5 across the map.
Yeah, Maple decides to take some jungle camps and try rotate up rather than push the bot lane tier 3. Nice dodge by Wako. Still finds himself... Those sums here is kind of crazy how long Wako does survive. But, you know, you don't have members here as PSG, and I think Frank punished it very well. I do think it was a mistake from Maple to not take the tier 3. Rare macro indecisiveness, I think, from PSG, as Maple walks halfway up and decides to just do Raptors instead of coming to the fight. And yeah, Frank, you know, get a little macro win back for themselves as once again, Maple just finds himself up a substantial amount of gold.
Yeah, and it's really on him to get this one across the line for the side of PSG. The rest of the map definitely scaling up, and Betty doing a lot of damage. Top. But yeah, teleport coming through. Kyling's going to be able to spot it out. They know Maple's here. Is there any angle to look for Pretender, though, as he's just having to back away from the tower? Arja now getting to work on this.
TP.
Yeah, just farming away on the bot side. Actually, Maple coming in to claim himself this tower. I think, honestly, correctly identifying who should have the gold at this stage.
Yeah, fortunately, PSG can never really just hit the dragon. For one, it is Gemini on the enemy team, and will probably find his way into the pit. With or without his flash. Does lose his blue buff, though. And he is, you know, you'd hope he was a bit further ahead this game, considering the start he had on the Lilia into a Tang. But game is not in a... it should just be a winning state, I think, for Frank.
Yeah.
As Aja's just building Magic Pen for the Nasus, who just got to build a Frozen Heart against an AP champ.
Yeah, Yi Jung, very strong. Really yet to see this Nasus have all that much impact outside of just beating Kennen down in lane.
Yeah, and surviving a dive or two. Feels good. Helps the team a lot. Especially when you're getting out macro. You win a lot of tempo when they commit 3 members and can't kill this Nasus, or even take a long time to kill him.
Now Wako getting awfully close. 25 stacks. Pretender, though, being looked at. He is trading back very well, and in fact, almost getting the kill there for himself, but not quite.
Yeah, underestimating his damage there, maybe. He could have actually just killed the Lucian there.
I think I underestimated his damage too.
Yeah. Yeah, and as we said, this Corki, it's not a hard counter in the Lucian, right? The lane is difficult. Oh, wow. Aja has to TP just to get away from this Nasus. They're down a TP now. Have to lane the Lucian into the Nasus, lest they drop a Baron.
Yeah.
Here's engaged.
Woody being looked at. Does have Battle Dance to get back to Junja. Now, importantly, there was Ghost used for Yi Jung, so it's going to be a lot harder for him to find effectiveness in those fights without the additional speed boost that Summoner does provide you.
Yeah, but now I think as the Nasus, you right-click the enemy tier 2 and make PSG either force on the Baron or rotate multiple members, because this Kennen is not hanging in there. And even if he is in the bot lane, he has no TP. You can find an angle to just TP this Nasus in and start the Baron up.
Wako very close now to having those stacks online.
Timing's alone. He has to be careful.
Yeah, Arja just not willing to go anywhere on the map outside of where his tower is. And
yeah, he can't show. Okay, this is scary for PSG. They're down a TP, but Aja's here.
Oh my god, Betty's damage is insane.
Yeah. Frank need to play this slow. They haven't seen Aja. They don't know where he is. He has no TP, so they just need to play it slow, and they'll gain advantages for their Nasus. Waka's going to be able to hold on to this mid tower forever. They have to find a clean engage onto him. Giga Chad not going cleanse on the Smolder. I think that's crazy against the Sejuani Kennen, but so far making it look fine.
Yep, got his stacks, importantly, off that last wave. So now
massive.
About as online as the Smolder's ever going to be.
Yeah.
K-Wing looking aggressive here. He's going to get knocked up. Going to have to use that ult, and Mum comes through. Is only going to connect onto Betty, who, you know, is a priority target, but he's going to be fine to just get on out of there.
Yeah, lifesteal back up pretty easily, and you're going to be missing this Alistar and Smolder ulti for the Dragon fight now. Aja needs to go find himself a flank, and Jiang needs to go match this Kennen.
Yeah, Aja's certainly trying to find himself a flank as he bides his time in these bushes. But that Frank is not willing to come into the river. They're going to just give over this Dragon, and again, sort of feeling the benefit of getting those 2 early Dragons. They don't have to be pressured to do anything around this objective just yet.
Yeah, and not even the Baron threatened by Frank. No contest, no Baron threat. Puzzling with how quickly they do the Baron. Even the Nasus monster on this Baron. 400 stacks for Jiang. Needs to get his butt to the bot lane, though. Catch that big wave.
Yeah, Maple certainly heading down there as we've already seen him take 1 tower on that bot side. Assistance ping.
Decides to not go for it. Is very depressed about the state of this bot wave. If he doesn't go farm it, it's just 2 or 3 waves slowly pushing into Frank.
Yeah, Junja spots that Pretender does recall there, so Maple's going to be aware that there's a Corki.
I actually, now that I think about it, much prefer the gold funneled onto Corki. Jiang actually TP'd at some point. I didn't realize. I thought he walked up to make that play, so commits his TP and team still loses the Dragon. Very depressing. Please don't freeze, man. Just push. Jiang gonna get the...
Oh. Woody gets it.
Yeah, misjudging his damage a little bit there is Yi Jiang. And a little bit off the map are Frank right now. Have to wait to get reestablished, and Gemini and K-Wing have linked up now.
And PSG have bought this gold all back to even.
Yeah, and it just feels like they permanently have control. Whether they have their TPs or not, whether they have their cooldowns or not, just playing the map significantly better. Wako's just been stuck under his tower the whole game, despite, I mean, he should be online on the Smolder at this point.
Interesting this game that Maple is not going for the Black Cleaver, but instead the LDR. Or potentially the Mortal Reminder.
Prioritizing his own damage, maybe. Will do more damage solo as the Lucian, but Black Cleaver is very common as a 3rd item in this build. Uses ability haste very well to Lucian, and because he's so low range, you like that little bit of HP on the Black Cleaver too.
Yeah, you also just apply it almost immediately.
Yeah, insta. I mean, Pretender is stronger in the 1v1. We've seen him just chunking Maple. So it puzzles me that Maple permanently has priority. And same deal with the Smolder. It feels like at some point Smolder's got to be getting stronger than the Sezreal as the scaling champ, but still unwilling to just push past his tower. Gemini's alone. No, it has K-Wing with him, actually.
Yeah,
here we go.
We'll go aggressive onto Junja, but that is not the target you want. We've seen them try it last game and did not go too well for them. Junja, on the other hand, just pulls the trigger here onto K-Wing as Betty with that true shot barrage. It will go wide, and K-Wing's turning this around, but he is getting taken out so low. Gemini looking for the play, finds the 2-man sleep. He's trying to follow up. Junja limping away back to his AD carry, who's trying to find the damage, and keep an eye on Aja. Aja's in at the flank. It's going to mean that Frank don't feel comfortable walking any further up, and nobody getting taken out. Maple does lose his flash. Junja likewise lost his flash, but still no real angle for a Baron because of those champions still being up and available.
Oh, they're funneling them.
They found it. They found the angle, and Aja has one-shot Gemini. Maple 2 finds a nice trade, finds the kill onto Yi Jiang. It's a 3v5 now as PSG, they find the angle, they find that top jungle lacking in the river and will claim themselves 2 kills.
Yeah, Frank overcommit onto a crab there, and PSG intelligently funnel them up to their Kennen. Kennen, no ulti now, is pretty useless, but what can the Smolder and Corki do? They have a lot of damage.
K-Wing trying to find a way in. Pretender.
Yeah,
doing
this
a lot
looks
of damage.
Iffy. Carries have to stop hitting for PSG. Who's killing this Baron?
Yeah, true shot barrage coming through. Not going to land onto anything. This Baron going down so slowly, but Betty's going to be able to get into that pit, and with that, the Baron will be taken out. Aja trying to zone away, as is everyone really for PSG. Wako now going aggressive, trying to find his way onto Junja, but won't be able to do so.
Yeah, frustrating game for Frank there. It just seems like PSG are playing a little smarter on the map as, I mean, they're just caught looking for this crab. They won a fight right before this. And Nasus is just helping killing the Scuttle Crab. Is the Scuttle Crab that important? Not really. PSG play well to funnel them up into their cannon. Finally find this flank for Aja, who, like we said, is just a much more useful champ on the cannon than the Nasus. Need to do something in the side lane with the Nasus to justify this pick. So far, not working out.
Yeah. 2 minutes of Baron now. PSG have it is hard still, even though you have the Baron to push into the Smolder, as you see Wako just clearing wave after wave in that middle lane. We'll see. Through comes that Glacial Prison. It's going to be answered with the Alistair ult, so that's a big cooldown down on both sides of the Rift, but the Culling finding a lot of chip damage there onto Wako as well as Kaiwing. But still, the wave clear's there. The Smolder champion is not going to falter when it comes to clearing waves despite the Baron available.
Yeah, I'm not even sure PSG win the 5v5 still. They did, you know, win a fight to get themselves the Baron there, but the Smolder and Corki are very, very strong. So is the Lilia, just into PSG's comp generally. Frank just need to figure out one of these team fights, pull the trigger, and find a clean team fight for themselves. They give up their tier 1 mid. Not the end of the world, considering the enemy team has Baron, Wako, and Gemini chunked.
Yeah, teleport now coming through from Pretender. Mum does come through to try and clear out some of that wave, but not going to be able to do all that much. Jiang, you see there on the bottom of your screen, trading with Aja, and the trade's not looking too hot for him at the moment, especially because he can't pull the trigger with so many people around.
Yeah, and PSG going to play some side lanes now. I think this makes a bit more sense. They are going to be able to stretch Frank thin so that Frank cannot walk up on this tier 1. No Alistair ult available for Kaiwing.
Yeah, that is another tower. 2 towers now taken out in the duration of this Baron buff, and PSG, they were behind, but now find themselves with a 3k gold advantage here as they look to take home the series. They're 1 dragon away as well from that Ocean Soul, which is going to be so difficult for the champions on the side of Frank to deal with.
Yeah, they just do have better champs, I think, at this point in the game on Frank. They just need to find a clean engage. They've been getting outplayed all game. You know, barring a couple of dragon fights and maybe a couple dives, as they're not able to just control their jungle the entire game, whether they have the gold lead or PSG have the gold lead. Frank just cannot get a hold of their jungle, whether it's top side or bot side.
Ooh. Bated breath whenever you see someone with that Lilia passive above their head, but Maple's going to be okay. No one around really to support Gemini.
Yeah, no cleanse, no QSS. On the Lucian is very vulnerable to this Lilia. 560 stacks. Oh, we're double stacking on Frank. I didn't even think about that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, but you see, the Nasus just kind of gets kited by these champions, gets CC'd despite the Merc Treads. Has a lot of damage if he does get onto anyone.
Yeah, it can certainly be very strong, but it's just been a struggle for him to really find a foothold in fights. It's so hard. He has to kind of mark the cannon. Will win that isolated 1v1 you have to feel, but Aja's just not providing him an opportunity to do that.
Yeah, just Aja playing very patiently on the cannon. Hasn't gotten a chance to do all that much this game, but when he's been given a chance, I mean, he's put PSG in the position they're in now with a very nice ulti onto Gemini and Jiang earlier. The almost Rabadon's completed for this cannon.
Yeah, will be a lot stronger at that spike, but Maple as well, I don't know what he's going to go, i.e. Bloodthirster maybe. Hold up, Jiang being caught out on the bot side, but does manage to pop that ult and just run on the opposite direction and will feel pretty good about himself.
Yeah, ultimately 2 ults for 1. PSG just testing the waters, and what's strange to me is that Frank are not able to get even a top wave or a mid wave shoving while PSG commits so many members. And, you know, Jiang plays well to get out of there. And, yeah, Frank's just looking lost on the map this game. Maybe some 0-2 nerves for Frank, it feels like. A couple of these fights, they have strong champions and could be playing a lot more aggressively, especially on Gemini. But just unwilling to.
Yep. Jung did lose his Ghost in that bot lane exchange, so he's going to be a lot weaker around those team fights on the Nasus, of course.
Yeah, definitely. Much less of a threat.
Yeah. Has this the Infinity Edge picked up by Maple, sitting at 4 items now. Very, very strong. Certainly the most strong champion on the Rift, as Pretender getting close to having that LDR online, at which point maybe he would be considered the strongest.
Yeah, long way from the IE, though, is this Corki. Feeling like he has to go for the LDR on Pretender, I completely disagree. There's not actually very much armor at all on the side of PSG. I think he could have just gone for the IE now, but I mean, we'll be doing plenty of damage on the Corki anyway. Yeah, and it doesn't feel like Frank are out of the game by any means. It's just been about 15 minutes of them constantly being outplayed, macro and micro. Here we go.
Purple Worm is spawning, and Climbing's going to use his ult to trade there with the Sejuani, and the forward from Woody, he does manage to find a nice great entrance, but Gemini, he goes golden. Jung now teleporting in. He's going to be pretty strong here as long as he can find access to one of these carries, but so far he's just running the opposite direction. Climbing's got to do something to appeal for his team and not able to really do so. And there's a nice chunk of damage dealt, though, by Gemini on the way out, as you see Betty and Maple losing a bit of health there. Wako walking forward, finds a Q and doing certainly a lot of damage on the Smolder at this point of the game. PSG looking a little lost in this fight as Woody gets clapped by the slow there. But yeah, Aja,
they have no idea.
Oh god. Okay, they spot him. They spot out this Kennen. Aja's position now will be 9, but that doesn't make it any easier for Frank to try and play. They don't know where to go. They don't know how to go about this team fight. As PSG, Betty especially, just going forward, continuing to find bits of poke as Pretender trying to do the same, and one auto attack on a Maple's like half his HP, as well as that rocket barrage connecting there. It's on a nice edge.
And Gemini will win this fight in the 1v1 with the Sejuani. Frank can now pretty safely head to the Dragon because Junji is not there to... Oh, the TP from Aja to the bot lane. Did they see it? I don't think so.
I'm not sure if they know, but Aja's down there.
God.
Oh god, Aja's there. Climbing goes aggressive, but here comes the slicing Maelstrom. They found their way into Wako, who has been completely annihilated. Now Gemini gets stuck in there. He flashes forward. He's doing whatever he can, but what he can is not enough, as only Pretender stands. This is your tournament on the line here. Your upper bracket position is on the line, and only Pretender to try and defend.
Yeah, and it's going to be probably Soul into Baron. We'll see if PSG, they look like they want to try end here. I think this might be a mistake. It is 30 seconds on Wako. You imagine the moment he spawns, all these waves immediately die for PSG. We'll see if they go beyond the inhib here, as Pretender has quite a bit of wave clear himself.
Yeah, the teleport coming through means all 5 members of PSG will be here.
No, it's over.
Yeah, this game does look completely over, and Pretender has been completely one-shot. And with that, it's our first 3-0 of the second stage of the playoffs, and it's PSG Talon who advance.
Yeah, we said the cannon would be more useful than the Nasus later on, and Aja proved us right with a really smart TP. He TPs to his own wave right before it comes into vision of Frank, and because of that, they have no idea. They were keeping track of the cannon, thinking he's with his team in the mid lane. Suddenly he appears from the bot side. Wako uses his flash, but from one end of the cannon ult to the other one.
Yeah, just gets one shot. I mean, Aja, kind of the MVP of that game, had a very tough lane phase, and Yi Jung, I think, ultimately proving this Nasus champ does very well into the cannon, but it just wasn't enough. And those men on your screen there, PSG Talon, they are going to advance forward to play the winner of tomorrow's game. And I mean, you have to be feeling pretty confident as them because, you know, they started a little bit behind in game 1, got it back through macro. Game 2, just destroyed that game. And then game 3, again, they fell quite far behind, and Frank truly should have probably been able to win that game. But PSG, they came back just bit by bit, little by little, until eventually the game broke open. Aja finds a fantastic teleport. They are able to take it home.
Yeah, I think Frank had everything they needed to win that game and just got outplayed, hesitated way too often. There were moments where Sejuani Rakan were pushing back Alistair Lilia in the river there, and that should never happen. Yeah. You should be very confident to take that 2v2 on the side of Frank, but I think they were in their own heads, just kind of seeing ghosts, always expecting an extra member of PSG to be there, and never really got to use their Smolder and Corki, who were massive.
Yeah, and there were just weird moments too, like Gemini randomly dying 1v1 to Maple in the bot lane, and just certain mistakes there that you really can't afford to have at this stage of the playoffs. You're fighting for that world spot, and you should be able to take games like that when you are up so much, despite the fact you're going up against PSG, who I think anyone looking at the region would say is just clearly our best team.
Yeah.
But still, I think we didn't even get to see Wako on something with any form of autonomy, right, this entire game.
Or early game.
So I think going forward, if you are a FAK Esports fan, if you are on the FAK Esports team, I think maybe looking towards giving him something he can playmake on, because looking back, that's how they got the win. They got the wins from him playmaking. Yes, there was one game of Smolder that he was able to get across the line too, but in general, his Zeri just looked so flawless that why wouldn't you give him a champ like that? Why wouldn't you give him something that he can go forward, he can make those plays? Because even in this game, a lot of this game was only sort of okay because they got the Baron, but Wako was able to clear the waves, which is nice, but you probably aren't in that position if they find themselves that far ahead and he's on something that could really push the issue.
Yeah, ultimately for FAK, it's not the end of the world. There is the loser bracket, so they do lose one of their lives, but they've got another one. They will play against the loser of tomorrow's series?
No, they will go against, I believe, CFO or DFM, which I imagine will be DFM just by virtue that they've already gone against
and
CFO.
This on your screen was the game-turning moment, and it was actually happening after FAK had actually won a fight and pushed back PSG, but they're going for the crab while their support is off the map. And Betty might be a sleeper candidate for MVP that game, because if you remember, the game really broke open when he found Wako just kind of dizzy in the river out of nowhere and chases down FAK from very far behind to get his team some kills.
Yeah, I think, honestly, you could give it to him, you could give it to Maple, you could give it to Woody or Ginger. I honestly think probably just anyone can receive the MVP. There wasn't anyone that, in my mind, particularly stood out in terms of getting them certain things. Yes, Betty did the most damage, but also a lot of that damage is just queuing a Nasus and queuing a Alistair a lot of the time, which, you know, it is impactful, especially when it's happening around the team fights, but in general, I don't think any one person particularly stood out. Maple, great game for himself. Betty, great game for himself, as I said, so.
Yeah, Junjia taking 52,000 damage, and I believe not going down that game, maybe in that dragon fight. So he went down twice, likely. Oh, just once, likely.
Yeah.
And yeah, Aja with the most kills at 4. They don't need that many kills on PSG. They just outplay.
So Aja picks it up, probably for that last team fight, almost entirely.
Yeah, as well as the fight we just saw on the replay.
Yeah.
Nice flank. It was a team effort to enable that fight around the Baron, but the TP to the bot to flank them on the Dragon was inspired by Aja. I loved that out of him.
Yeah, and I think that should be our replay. I'd like to see if this replay gives us the vision, because he just sneaked entirely to the Dragon using that Ocean Soul Bush. So pretty much just get right on top of Wako from the get-go, and it is going to be that play.
Inspired. He TPs to the wave before the waves have crashed into each other, so they don't see the TP unless they put their camera directly there. No reason to. If you're the side of FAK, you think you know exactly where this cannon is, and Aja proves not the case. And maybe a result of just FAK hesitating to get on this Dragon, and he is uninterested in these tankier members this time around. He gets straight onto Wako, who has flash, but no cleanse, and probably regretting taking that cleanse. This is why, even against very little CC, you do just go for cleanse a lot of the time, because the game will be decided by one fight.
Yeah.
And you want to have cleanse for it.
You have to wonder if there was possibly a summoner that one of the champions on the side of FAK could have taken to slow down Aja and also reduce his damage.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not sure if a summoner like that does exist, but it seems like it might be good against a champ like Kennen, who kind of offloads all of his damage immediately.
What are the odds he'll kill her?
Yeah, there's
kill
no
a
way.
Smolder at 40 minutes. Alistair will just headbutt him.
Yeah, we're good. We'll be good. But this is, I mean, that fight right there is just proof of it, right? This Alistair is on top of the Kennen.
It makes no difference.
Cannot do anything. Ignites him. Awesome, man. My Kennen has just lost 280 damage to true damage, but one-shot my entire 80 carry.
Yeah,
and,
especially when it's a flank. You can headbutt the Kennen away, but he's kind of still got a flank.
Yeah, he's on the flank regardless.
Yeah.
You headbutt him back to the flank, and he continues to be able to go forward. But yeah, I don't know. I think we really need to think about what champs do, and then think about our builds around those champs, because there is no excuse to not having exhaust.
Ultimately, I think they should have won exhaust or not that game. I think FAK.
Yes, I agree.
I'm glad that FAK are in the upper bracket after a series like that, because they can learn so much, especially for players like Jiang. You can learn a lot from a series like that in terms of macro and how it all went wrong, how you should have approached the game, because there's no micro to really focus on.
Yeah.
For this entire series.
There wasn't really right. I think there was just decisions that were poor. I think it was kind of the tale of this series where PSG were making better decisions over the course of all 3 games. But that does do us for our series. We're going to have the listen to the comms, and after that will be an interview. Do enjoy.
被我打到，下路一波，下路一波，下路一波，全来，赶快，逼也逼过来，还是好像没办法哎，可以吧？可以啊，只有不齐而已，这一波我还有大，这一波，谁一波，应该可以，我可以闪现顶他，来不及手，我用顶的，不要，预价直接顶他，我有大，别让他骑兵千万。 直接往前就好了，我有大，一定要挡啊！我没有冲，挡他炮，等一下前 A， 他没闪，就闪他一下。我看一下，看。nice。
Welcome to the post-game interview. Here we are. PSG's AD player Betty for the post-game interview. Let's have Betty say hello to everyone first.
本日、PSG のベティ選手をインタビューさせていただきます。まず挨拶の方をお願いいたします。
欢迎来到今天的赛后采访。我们邀请到的是 PSG 的 AD 选手 Betty， 请 Betty 先跟大家打声招呼吧。
大家好，我是 PSG 的 AD Betty。
So first off, congratulations for winning your first game in the PCS playoff. And I want to ask you, you guys played against FAK, which is also performing better and better in recent games. I want to ask you to rate your team's performance today.
今日は PSG のプレーオフ初戦でしたが、対戦相手は好調な FAK でしたが、チームのパフォーマンスをどう評価しますか？
首先恭喜你们获得你们PCS 夏季赛季后赛第一场比赛的胜利。你们对手是 FAK， 他们最近也表现得越来越稳定。想问你评价一下你们现在队伍的发挥，今天的发挥。
我们今天发挥，我觉得就是跟平常训练赛就是平常打的一模一样，没有什么太大的变化，大家都是比较照着营运方式来打。そうですね、今日のパフォーマンスはもういつも通りの成果を出せたと思いますね。あと練習の成果もしっかり視聴者の皆さんに見せることができました。
So I think we performed as we do in scrims exactly the same way. So we all played our macro games very well, and so overall I think we did pretty well today. So actually, you guys picked FAK as your opponent today. So why did you guys choose FAK knowing that they're performing better and better against DCG?
本日の対戦相手は PSG がピックしました。なぜ DCG ではなく FAK をピックした理由を教えてください。
你们其实今天的对手是由你们选择的。那在知道 FAK 最近的状况越来越好的情况之下，你们为什么会选择 FAK 而不是 DCG 呢？
就是在面对这几队的时候 ，DCG 对于我们来说，就是我们每个队都有应对的方式，但是 DCG 太不稳定了，他们就是一群疯狗，然後就有点難打。都不想跳啊。いや正直どんな対戦相手と対戦するのももちろん準備はしてたんですけれども DCG のプレースタイルはかなりむちゃくちゃで、彼らと対戦することになったらかなり苦戦になると思いました。
So actually, we have a plan for all the teams that we're going to play against, and just DCG, I think they're kind of crazy in their style. So playing against them would be harder for us to play. So that's why I didn't choose DCG. So actually, the last game that you guys played was 3 weeks ago. I want to ask you if you guys made any adjustments to your team style or play style according to the playoffs.
前回の出場からもう3週間以上経ってます。この3週間でプレーオフに向けて何か修正や準備をしましたか？
其实你们上一次打比赛是3个星期之前，想知道在这3个星期中间，你们有没有特别为季后赛做什么样特别的调整或是准备？
就是为了这季后赛，我们其实跟很多蛮厉害的队伍训练，然后找了很多比较版本不一样的打法吧，这都是我们有在練習的。そうですね、この3週間でかなり強い練習相手とたくさん試合して、そしてもっと
いつもと違うチャンピオンを練習してこのプレーオフで、使えるでしたらちょっと使ってみたいと思っております。
We actually scrimmaged against a lot of different teams and also make plans to play comps that are off meta and styles that are off meta for the playoffs. So actually, this is actually your start of the PCS playoff games. But people still think you guys are the team to win them all. So if you are able to play in the finals, which opponent do you think we'll be playing against?
まだ PSG のプレーオフ初戦ですが、今日のパフォーマンスを見ると優勝候補に近いないと見受けられます。仮にファイナルまで進出できたら、どのチームから一番脅威を感じますか？
现在是你们 PCS 季后赛的刚开始嘛？那其实很多人还是觉得你们会是夺冠大热门，所以想知道，如果你们成功的进入了总决赛的话，你们的对手你觉得会是谁呢？
首先我希望大家不要对 PSG 跟对我们有这么大的期望，这样我们才有办法正常发挥。期望越大，就失落感会越大的。然后我们当然是想办法尽量打，然后每个队都是有争取冠军的机会。
まず PSG のことをあんまり高く期待しないでほしいですね。めちゃくちゃ期待されてたら、いつものパフォーマンスができなくなっちゃいますので、そして、ファイナルまで、進出できるチームはもうどのチームも、すごくチャンス持ってるんじゃないかなと思っております。
So I hope everyone don't give us too much expectations. So if you guys have a lot of hope for us, if we don't perform well, you guys might have a lot of regrets. So I think every team have a chance to be in the playoffs. So hopefully any team we can play against, everyone have a chance. So we'll try our best. Thank you so much for the interview and congratulations for your win. 再次恭喜你们获得今天比赛的胜利。我们把镜头转回主播台。
Thank you once again for the interview, Paddy. And
Humble King.
Yeah, I don't like that.
It could be like a translation.
I reckon it's just like, we got this, fellas. Wrap it up.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But, you love a humble response that we'll do our best.
Yeah, I mean, in some ways, right? But, like, knowing that the team that looks so good has confidence, I think, at least, maybe it's just a personal thing, but I like to, like, when a team is doing well and they're confident that they're going to get it done, it gives me confidence that they're also going to get it done. Because I'm not really thinking necessarily just about the playoffs.
Yeah, because we want to see them kick some heads at Worlds.
Yeah. That's more what I'm thinking. Like, I think PSG, they're probably just in our grand finals. They're probably going to win it. I care about how they perform at Worlds.
But maybe it's Betty just letting us know he doesn't have that mindset that he's just expecting to breathe through. He's going to respect all his opponents the whole way there and take it one step at a time.
Yeah, fair enough. So it is going to be FAK Esports up against DFM down on that losers bracket heading in later on in the week. But I think more importantly now, PSG are one singular series away, one best of 5 away from being in that grand final to punching their ticket to Worlds. But tomorrow, tomorrow's the big one. It's going to be SoftBank versus DCG. And I'm coming into this one with absolutely no expectations other than it's probably going to 5 and it's probably going to be an absolute banger.
Yep, just going in completely confused, no idea. Similar to CFO Frank, but for more exciting reasons than the CFO Frank series. This series, we legitimately have no idea what champions we're going to see. We haven't seen SoftBank yet. Last time around, they just pulled out lots of crazy picks, willing to play pretty much anything between Evi and Vista.
Yeah.
Same deal with DCG. As you know, if you've been watching the PCS, those guys are crazy in draft and in game.
We had the Vex come out of them in their last series.
Yeah, true.
We've had Callista, we've had Kaylin, we've had Draven in the mid lane. I mean, you don't really know at all what to expect of DCG. We don't know what to expect from SoftBank. And it's just so exciting going forward. But of course, once again, I am going to have to thank our sponsors, Changhua Telecom, who if you sign up in the near future, you will get 12 months free of Harmy video for your pleasure. And of course, the Sheraton Grand Taipei Hotel, who are kindly housing all of our teams. They've got SoftBank, who we're going to see tomorrow, staying over there. And obviously, such great facilities. They have the pool, the spa, the sauna, and then China Airlines, who got all of our teams over to Taipei. SoftBank again, they only came over recently, but surely had a great flight. If you want to check them out on the China Airline website, where you can find great value tickets. And of course, Carry Energy, who recently sponsored us, and they've got a great energy drink to fuel your mind, to fuel your body, and to have peak performance anytime you may need. And last but not least, it is TTL brand noodles, who likewise fuel the mind, fuel the soul, perhaps, TTL brand noodles, because I know that when I had them when I was over in Taipei, I loved them. So if you guys have the opportunity to try them out, I certainly do recommend it. Now, tomorrow, SoftBank up against DCG. I don't know what to expect, but I tell you, this is the most excited I've been for one of our series in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most exciting matchup so far until we maybe get to see stuff like DCG PSG, which maybe is a little more exciting for me, but split the difference. It's barely any difference. I think all three of these teams are, between these two teams and PSG, are contenders for first place.
Yes.
One of these teams will win. There's almost no doubt in my mind.
Yep, I agree. I think well, we don't know about SoftBank yet, but I think at least DCG and PSG, they clearly look a cut above the rest of the competition here in our playoffs. And tomorrow we get to find out just how SoftBank look, because last time up against DCG in our spring playoffs, it went to 5 games. But DCG, they've gotten better. They've gotten much better.
Yeah.
And if you remember, SoftBank were only winning off the back of Lee Sin, and so far the only player in our entire playoffs to play the Lee Sin, actually 2, 10 in the top lane, but 665 in the jungle. So there's two games at least in our playoffs. It is not a very highly prioritized pick, but maybe tomorrow it's just going to go up that much more, because Forest, he looks very good at that champ.
Yeah, and so does 665. So we might see crazy stuff in these in this series, like Lee Sin first picks, but it did seem like they wanted to play it more into the Aurora. We'll see how that champion being banned affects the draft.
Yeah. Absolutely, we will, but that does do us for tonight. Of course, congratulations to PSG Talon, who are now one singular game, one singular best of 5 away from punching their tickets to Worlds. And Frank, better luck next time against DFM, but we'll see you all tomorrow.
Now we're running out of time. Before we put this all behind, let's go again. We feel so alive. One last didn't want to say goodbye. Now we're running out of time. Before we put this all behind, let's go again. We feel so